feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. You can feel it.
Get up on out the bed and start to move your balls. Let's pick up a word in Solomon Jones. Word. You better wake up now.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Wake Up with Word. I got on my Bermuda shirt this morning, Kawesa, because I'm like, you know, this is like a Wizard of Oz type thing. Like if I click my heels 3 times, maybe, you know, I'll be in Bermuda. Maybe they'll be doing cruises again. Maybe, you know, life will be a little bit normal. Is it going to work?
Maybe.
Yeah.
No,
it's not, is it?
Yeah. But hey, wishful thinking. That's, one day.
Yeah.
Someday.
Yeah. I know. Oh, man. Somewhere
I know.
over the rainbow?
Just think.
You know, like, this is, this is crazy.
It is. One day you'll see those blue waters again. Put your feet in. I want to go to Bermuda. I went to the Bahamas. That was my last trip. I won't talk about it.
Well, you bought me a shirt back.
Yes.
I had on a shirt the other day in the house. Like, oh man, if only I could go to the Bahamas. Nah.
Yeah, nah.
Ain't nothing happening.
It's okay. Yeah. Well, I like to look at pictures. Makes me.
Yeah.
Does that help? No, maybe not.
Not really, because then you're just mad all over again. You're like, man, I can't go.
Right.
You know what I mean? Oh man, but we are we're on vacation in our heart, but really we're working. I was down North Philly yesterday with some of our mentors from Man Up PHL. We were at Country Cooking on 22nd Street, hanging out, talking to some brothers, beginning the process of helping them to get employed, and just a great time. We met 3 great brothers, man. One of them was 15. Mom brought him down, so we're going to try to figure out how we can do something for him and refer him someplace and maybe even have him do some stuff for us and just slide him a couple of hours. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing. Met a couple of other brothers who are in need of some mentoring. And then we met a brother who was just kind of laying in the cut. He was in the barbershop. He watched us. You know what I mean? Because that's how you do in the hood. You're like, all right, I'm going to see what they doing. And when we were finished, he came up and was like, yo, I like what y'all doing. I want to be involved. So that kind of thing, man, we appreciate that. Appreciate even having the opportunity to be out and about in these streets with our masks on, with our hand sanitizer, keeping social distance, doing that whole thing. But really, it is time for us to be back in the street. And so tomorrow, as we do Founders Day, of course, we're going to be talking all about Dr. Walter P. Lomax, Jr., MD, tomorrow. But one of the things that he was really passionate about was helping our people, creating work opportunities, and helping brothers to do better. And so we're going to have Man Up PHL as part of what we're talking about tomorrow, as well as a whole slew of other people, including the Lomax family, talking about Dr. Walter P. Lomax, Jr., MD. And so we are really looking forward to that. So the Democratic National Convention goes on, and it has a whole cast of characters. Last year, a security guard said, "I love you" to Joe Biden in an elevator as he was on his way to see the New York Times editorial board. The exchange went viral, and last night that same woman gave the first speech officially nominating Biden for president. "I take powerful people up on my elevator all the time," Jacqueline Brittany said in a video that aired at the Democratic Convention last night. "When they get off, they go to their important meetings. Me, I just head back to the lobby. But in the short time I spent with Joe Biden, I could tell he really saw me, that he actually cared, that my life meant something to him. And I knew even when he went into his important meeting, he'd take my story in there with him. That's because Joe Biden has room in his heart for more than just himself," she said. "We've been through a lot and we have tough days ahead, but nominating someone like that to be in the White House is a good place to start. That's why I nominate my friend Joe Biden as the next president of the United States." That's a heartwarming story, the story of 2 people who probably needed kindness in that moment. Remember, Joe Biden wasn't winning at the time, and Jacqueline Brittany works a job where people don't normally see her. But in that moment, they saw each other. They respected each other. They lifted each other. I only hope that after the election, all of us can once again do the same. We got a hot show for you today on Wake Up with Word. Albert Samaha of BuzzFeed News on the federal government's surveillance of Black Lives Matter protesters. Actress Shirley Ralph talks about women of color leading the way, a virtual panel hosted by the Biden campaign. Student Neha Mukherjee on her recent article learned to say Kamala Harris's name and mine too. And your favorite cousin of mine, dear Melanie, has another hilarious answer to one of life's biggest questions. And as always, we've got you, our listeners, calling in at 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Or toll free 866-361-0900. Hit us on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, or you can hit me personally at Solomon Jones 1. Watch us on Facebook at forward. But first, it's the big three, the news stories you need to know to kick off your day right here on Wake Up with Word. Story number one: embattled Postmaster General Louis DeJoy reversed course Tuesday, saying that all changes being made to the Postal Service would be suspended until after the November 3rd election, just as 20 Democratic states announced plans to file federal lawsuits. DeJoy said that some of the deferred decisions mean that retail hours at post offices will not change, mail processing equipment and blue collection boxes will remain in place, and no mail processing facilities will be closed. At least 20 Democratic attorneys general across the country are launching a multi-pronged effort to push back on the recent changes that disrupted mail delivery across the country and triggered accusations that Trump and his appointees are trying to undermine mail-in voting. And of course, one of those attorneys general was our Attorney General, Josh Shapiro, here in the state of Pennsylvania. My question is this. So y'all say that you're going to stop making the changes. Are you going to put back the stuff you already took out? That's my question. Are you going to put back the machines you already took out? Are you going to put back the mailboxes you already removed? Are you going to unlock the ones that you locked up? Like, I need you to put everything back like it was, because yes, you're trying to undermine mail-in voting. Donald Trump said it out his own mouth. Like, I'm not here, fix it. That's where I'm at, Kawesa.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree on that. And that's the thing that is so disturbing about this presidency. They have been, pushing the envelope continuously for the entire administration, right? And they were like, oh, they let us get away with this. I'm going to go ahead and try to get away with this other thing over here, too. Yeah. And that's really what happened. And they got caught. Hold their feet to the fire. Make sure that, people are able to go ahead and do, mail-in voting, absentee voting, whatever they need to do. You have the military who does, absentee voting or mail-in voting. The president himself does that type of voting. So what do you mean? So that means that your voting that you put out there is going to be, liable for fraud as well? Why are you, above the rest?
That's right.
So, yeah, put it back the way that it was.
Yeah, put it back. Put it back. Which brings me to story number two. As the U.S. marks the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage, many event organizers, mindful that the 19th Amendment originally benefited white women, have been careful to present it as a commemoration, not a celebration. The amendment to the U.S. Constitution was ratified on August 18, 1920, but many women of color were prevented from casting ballots for decades afterward because of poll taxes, literacy tests, overt racism, intimidation, and laws that prevented the grandchildren of slaves from voting. Much of that didn't change until the Voting Rights Act of 1965. From exhibits inside the Arizona Capitol Museum to a gathering on the North Carolina State House lawn, many commemorations, including those that moved online because of the coronavirus pandemic, have highlighted a more nuanced history of the American women's suffrage movement alongside the traditional tributes to well-known suffragists such as Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. When I see stuff like this, I think about Sojourner Truth. Ain't I a woman? Like, for real. This is a celebration of white women. That's really what it is. And the whole suffragist movement had an undertone of racism. Now, I'm glad, women got to vote. But black women weren't voting like that. They was lynching black women. They try to vote. You know what I mean? So, like, this whole, this is about all women. No, it's really not. It's about white women. And part of what they did in order to get the vote was say, wait, how come black men can vote and we can't? So there was an undertone of racism to the whole thing. Again, I'm glad women got the right to vote, but I'm glad that we're looking at it in a more nuanced way and really recognizing that history for what it was, because really, it was racist.
Yeah, it was. And so, you know, I'm all about making sure that we look at this as a commemoration, because it wasn't, you know, something to necessarily be celebrated as black women. You know, you had Sojourner Truth getting, you know, beat up, trying to, you know, do what she could to say, like, yes, I am a woman. Don't treat me, you know, as if I'm less than. And so, you know, I look at this and I think that it's great that we are starting to get to a point where we are recognizing history and the fact that Black history, even though it's, you know, entwined in American history, it was not beautiful. It was not, you know, this kumbaya moment. We had to fight, nail it to crawl our way up just to make it, and just to, you know, have the opportunity to do so. And even with, you know, the fact that black women were able to vote, I'm using quotation marks, y'all can't see that. I mean, black men, black women, we still had to struggle all the way throughout. Like, we've had so many problems, and they are still to this day trying to keep us from voting.
Right.
So yes, it's a commemoration.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Which brings me to story number 3. Speaking of women, with the Democratic National Convention now underway, I'm glad to see black women up front. The choice of Senator Kamala Harris as Joe Biden's running mate is a nod to their political importance. After all, 94% of black women voted for Hillary in 2016. And if Biden wins in November, it will be because he got those same kinds of numbers from black women. That's why it's no accident that black women are showing up in key spots for Biden. Political strategist Simone Sanders is his senior advisor. Former First Lady Michelle Obama is not only the conscience of the party, she's Biden's most trusted endorser. And then, of course, there's the historic choice of Harris as Biden's running mate. Putting sisters in key positions is a plus, but we've seen black folks in big jobs before. This time, it's got to be different. We got to see change that lifts more blacks out of poverty. We got to dismantle systems that uphold white supremacy. We got to see Democrats do much more than just talk about racial justice. It all boils down to these 7 words. Don't talk about it, be about it. It's not enough to put black women in key positions, nor is it enough to feature other women of color like actress Eva Longoria or Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, both of whom play prominent roles in the convention. No, putting black and brown faces up front does not stop discrimination in lending, employment, criminal justice, or any of the systems that treat people of color unfairly. Of course, the Democratic Party has helped to usher in some change. They ushered in the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Most notably, they ushered in the 2008 election of Barack Obama. But today, as America deals with a racial reckoning that put millions of protesters in the streets, we can see that symbolism is not enough. If Democrats truly care about black folks, don't talk about it, be about it. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning show. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. I'm a lifelong Democrat, right? But I know that there are some things that the party has to do. One of the things that I notice, man, in politics, right? Republicans just tell you straight up, like, we don't, you know, we're not down for, you know, all this equality and freedom, and we prefer that y'all don't vote, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that happens. We don't want you to have affirmative action. We don't want you to have any of these things, right? We want things like they were in the 1950s. That's why Make America Great Again was such a great slogan for Donald Trump, because it really harkens back to the days of like June Cleaver. You understand what I'm saying? You know, leave it to Beaver, like that kind of thing, right? It harkens back to all of that. And so when people hear that, it's like, yeah, we need the America of, you know, a father knows best. We need that America, right? Because they don't want a progressive America. Now, Democrats, on the other hand, for many years have rested on their laurels. Democrats have done some great things in terms of civil rights. I mean, legislative things that literally changed the culture of America. The Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, the Fair Housing Act, like those things that came on the heels of the civil rights movement in the 1960s literally changed things in America for black people. The problem is they sat on their laurels with it. Right? They sat there and said, look, we did this. We changed things. You know, we're done. Y'all owe us your vote forever. It's like, nah. First of all, we don't owe you our vote forever. And secondly, the mistake that I believe my party made was not to be vigilant about watching these things. You had to know that conservatives, both inside your party and outside of it, were going to be pushing back against these changes. You had to know that they would keep coming after the Voting Rights Act until they scuttled it, which they did in 2013. By the way, 1 year after Barack Obama was reelected, largely due to the votes of black folks. See, all this stuff is connected, man. Right? You had to know that they would be pushing back against affirmative action. And again, the case that they won with using Asians as a wedge between black folks and white folks, the case that they're putting forward with the Justice Department against Yale is all about scuttling affirmative action and making sure black kids can't go to the same schools that their kids can go to. Y'all had to know that they were going to keep fighting this until they were able to change it. And so sitting there and not having a counter strategy to that, sitting there and not making sure that you are constantly telling your voters, constantly telling your people, constantly putting together legislation to uphold, to buttress that, constantly putting out lawsuits like they doing on the other side to make sure that this stuff stays in place and get strengthened. You didn't do that. Instead, you sat on your laurels and watched them destroy the legislation that you put in place. It's time to stop talking about it. You got to be about it. And largely what I have seen is these symbolic victories where you put people in place, but that's all you do is you put people in place. The system doesn't change. What they can do doesn't change. Their job doesn't change. You might as well have, a white dude there if the system does not change. And so what I'm saying is this, that I appreciate seeing black women, black men, black people in position. But if nothing changes, you just talking. It's time to stop talking about it. You got to be about it. You know what I mean? If I'm going in the hood and I'm seeing the same conditions for my people that I saw 10, 20 years ago, and if those conditions change, it's because the neighborhood is being gentrified. White people are coming in, pushing black people out. They can get loans. We can't. They get tax breaks. We don't. Like, if those things are happening, then you just talking. And so I believe that it's wonderful to have a Kamala Harris on the ticket. I think it's great to have Simone Sanders as Joe Biden's senior advisor. I think it's wonderful that Michelle Obama can actually move people and is seen really as like a wise sage and auntie almost of the party. You understand what I'm saying? But at some point, y'all got to stop talking and do something, man. Our people are dying in the streets. The same way, and I was annoyed by this, right? Now, and I watched this stuff, and shout out to Jay McCallum, who really pointed that out to me, like, why y'all running to the airport when he put the travel ban in place, but y'all don't run to the hood when we get shot by the cops? Black politicians. You understand what I'm saying? Like, at some point, you got to stop talking about it and be about it. And so, while we are pushing to make sure that the right person wins the election, I think we also got to be pushing an agenda, man. We also got to be pushing for some change. We also got to be pushing to say, you know what, it's great that you got a black face there, but, you know, you can put a black face there and the black face do the same thing that the white face did. We need some change. We're going to talk about it on the other side of this break. I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. What is the black agenda? 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Don't miss the Electric Magazine Show. Hosted by Cody Anderson and Vicky Leach. Saturday mornings from 7 a.m. till 9 a.m. Exclusively on Word Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Always Best Care is a great place to work. Flexibility,
leadership, purpose,
great benefits.
There's never a dull moment.
Diversity, inclusion, compasión.
We love our jobs. If you're looking for a great place to work, you can join our compassionate Team Green. You can apply online at teamgreenabc.com or call 267-909-9248.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Join us for our annual Founders Day broadcast, a special virtual on-air and online celebration of our founder, Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD. Thursday, August 20th from 6 a.m. till 9 p.m. Enjoy an entire day of celebration as we recognize that independent black media is more important now than ever, with panel discussions that you can watch on Word TV via Facebook Live or listen on 900 AM 96.1 FM through wordradio.com or the Word Radio app, including a conversation with the Lomax family, discussions on black innovation, wealth creation, doctors on the front lines, featuring Dr. Ayla Stanford, self-care strategies during a time of madness, and much more. Plus, updates on our livelihood initiative to connect our community with jobs and career opportunities. And what better way to celebrate independent black media than to ensure that it continues to thrive by starting or renewing your Forward membership at the discounted rate of just $80 exclusively on Founders Day. It's all going down on air and online from 6 a.m. till 9 p.m. Thursday, August 20th. But be sure to register right now at wordradio.com to be eligible for exclusive prizes and giveaways during our Founders Day broadcast. And stay tuned to Word Radio, sponsored by Pico, Comcast, NBC Universal, Brown's Family ShopRite, Dietz & Watson, Canada Dry, Amoroso's, and Hers. No fear, just facts. WURD.
The coronavirus continues to affect us all, and AARP is here in Philadelphia, actively supporting you and your community. Every day, they're providing trusted information from experts, working to protect people from fraud, supporting family caregivers, and making it easier for neighbors to help neighbors through the new AARP Community Connections website. Learn what AARP is doing to connect and support our community during this unprecedented time. We may be apart, but we're not alone. Click to connect at aarp.org/near you.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance, where you only pay for what you need. Northbound 95, a jammed bridge up to Cottman Avenue, an accident there. Restrictions as a result of this crash. Northbound 95, southbound side, Cottman down through Bridge. Busy there through construction. Again, Betsy Ross through Girard, a bit of a slow ride. Schuylkill Expressway westbound jamming there through the Vine Expressway. Again, through construction. Further west slow around the curve through the Blue Route. Earlier disabled vehicle there has been cleared. Eastbound 76 moving fine. PA Turnpike and the Blue Route 476 not bad. Westbound Vine delays a bit. Ben Franklin Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. 55 northbound Deptford into 42 slow. Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your coverage, so you only pay for what you need. Customize your coverage with Liberty Mutual Insurance. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. So it's official. Joe Biden is the nominee for the Democrats to be president of the United States. What is the black agenda? That's my question. I know that we certainly want reform around criminal justice. I know that we certainly want reparations for slavery. I know that we certainly want economic empowerment, economic equality. I know that we want anti-discrimination legislation strengthened. But beyond that, what is the black agenda? You know, when I think about the issues that plague a lot of our neighborhoods, these are issues, man, that go back generations. This is not just about a piece of legislation. It is literally about a cultural change, right? And some of that change has to be us recognizing the things that have been put in place as stumbling blocks for us, knowing that those things are in place and countering those things. But not just countering the things that have been put in place to trip us up, but creating some things proactively that are meant to build us up. Right? Everything that we do can't be a reaction to racism. At some point, we have to be proactive, right? We have to take the initiative and saying these are the things that we have to do in order to change our own condition. Part of it is that those of us who have made it, guess what? If we are going to actually make it as a people, those of us who have made it have to help those who haven't yet. You understand what I'm saying? Like we can't operate it with this Eurocentric, every man for himself mindset. That's not even our culture. But that's kind of what we've adopted, like this every man for himself, every woman for herself, every person for themselves mindset. We ain't going to make it like that. Not when you got a whole society set up against you. It makes me think about Public Enemy, the old Public Enemy. So it takes a nation of millions to hold us back. That's what you literally up against. You up against people who feel like they've been deputized by the system to hold you back. My job as the waitress at the restaurant, right? I've been deputized to hold you back. So I'm going to make you sit there while I serve everybody else but you. My job as the cab driver, I've been deputized to hold you back. So I'm going to pass you by to pick up a white man down the street. My job as a teacher, I've been deputized to hold you back, to hold your children back. So I'm going to treat them in ways that I don't treat Lil Seamus, right? That's what I'm going to do. I've been deputized, right? The system has deputized me to hold you back. And so I am going to do this because I believe that this system is designed for my benefit, not yours. I am a deputy of this system. I'm going to hold you back. I'm not going to serve you the same in a restaurant. I'm going to follow you in a store. I'm going to discipline your children more harshly in school. I'm going to do everything that I can to hold you back because this system has told me that that is my job. And so when that is what you are up against, then you can't operate in the same, this Eurocentric mindset of every man, every woman, every person for themselves. You can't. There's no way that we can advance as a people by doing that. And so, what is the black agenda? Because there are some things that we are going to have to agree on it. And this is one of the things that I hope will be incorporated into this current civil rights movement, that there are specific demands that are made. Because when you don't make a demand, then they give you whatever they want. Tell you what, we'll take down a statue. How about that? Tell you what, we'll change the name of a school. How about that? Tell you what, we'll put Black Lives Matter on the sidewalk. How about that? And none of that really fundamentally changes anything. Does it put a dime in your pocket? You understand? Does it create opportunities for you? Does it equalize your children's experience in school? Does it take the asbestos out of the building where your kids going to go back to eventually? You know, so when you don't have specific demands, when you don't have a specific agenda, then power will give you whatever it is they want you to have, which is nothing. And so my question again, what is the black agenda? We've had black faces in power before. And because you had a whole system around them, and that's the deep thing. People talk about, oh, Barack Obama ain't do nothing. Barack Obama passed the Affordable Care Act. Who did you think didn't have insurance? Why do you think they fighting so hard to take it away? What, he's supposed to stand up and be like, I'm doing this just for black people? He can't do that. You know, and so what is the agenda? What is the agenda? And how do we put it in place? Because guess what? It's not just about electing Joe Biden. That might be part of it. But then, and the lesson we should have learned from Obama is when the midterm elections come around, it's about making sure that he has a Congress he can work with that's not going to be fighting him every step of the way. It's about making sure that we're holding our leaders accountable every step of the way. It's about making sure that we're doing on the ground what we can do to improve our own life chances in our own neighborhoods, our own communities, our own families, and not depending on a politician to come in like Superman and do everything. That's not going to happen. So I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. What is the black agenda? 215-634-8065. If you want to weigh in on Facebook, you can certainly do so on Facebook at onWURD. That's FORWURD, FORWURD. Let's find out what some of the people are saying this morning on Facebook, and then we'll go to the phone lines. 215-634-8065, of course, is the number that you can call to get in. Kawesa, what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So we have Lean Love, who actually just commented. This is a little long, but who speaks for black people? Does the Black Caucus and other black politicians have a clear black agenda and demands? How many different organizations are not on one united front? Hispanics get what they want, and some are here illegally, but they have a working agenda. LGBTQ get what they want, and this is supposed to be one nation under God, pun intended. Israel gets what they want, and they're not even on American soil. Chinese get what they want, so on and so forth. So I hear you. And then I'm seeing a couple other folks. Amir Ali has said, you said a mouthful right there, so I'm going to be careful if they shut you down talking like that. Well, hey, you know. A. Malik Stewart, the sad part about this is the black agenda needs to be treated as us, and I guess they're saying needs to be treated the same as, I guess, white or Jewish people. Those who have the money have the power. So that's another comment that is being said here as well. Good morning to a couple of folks. Tracy Hambu Fakalujo saying, we got this. We can make it happen by any means necessary. So that's one comment there also. And then lastly, I'm trying to pull this up here. And Malik Stewart also is saying we need to not just focus on the presidential race. It's about voting on the House and the Senate, where it's on the party. Sorry, everything's jumping. We want to get what we want done. So quite a few folks just weighing in. And Diane Gray, good morning to you. Jeanette Wright, good morning as well. And there's a couple other people who've chimed in also, and it keeps jumping on me. So thank you so much for your comments, and I will try to grab them when I can once my Facebook feed stops jumping around.
All right. So we're going to go to the phone lines, 215-634-8065. Will Mega is on line one. Good morning.
Good morning, Solomon.
How are you?
I'm well, brother.
Good.
I was sitting here reflecting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you call on an agenda, establish an agenda, it requires for a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you lay out. You have to come together to meet to establish the agenda items, and then determine how you're going to move forward. What's important to you? Some, like the things you've laid out. It calls for a collective, and it just hit me in the head. I'm like, damn, the last time we really did that was in 1995. You had a collection of black people who came together to put together an agenda from darn near around the world, mostly from this country, referring to the Million Man March. But a lot of people don't know that there was an agenda book that came out of that to address every facet of black life, from what we need to be doing locally, I mean, as a community. And
who wrote that? Where was it? Because I never saw it.
Yeah, I have it on my bookshelf, which is just forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get you the name, but it was a collect. I know Milana Karanga was involved in it, Amos Wilson. I mean, some of our best and brightest black minds in every facet. So it was and not all of them were quote unquote who's who, but more so folks who were expert in their field. So not all of them was a household name,
right?
But my point to that is that was in 1995. I would
That's a long time ago.
I bet you all of that stuff is still exactly relevant today.
Yeah.
But my concern is, like, here we are right back to it, and you what you mentioned is really the fullness of where I think we fall short. Is we have, like, I listened to what Kwesa was spouting off in terms of what people were saying on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, we have these things that you mentioned that we think are nice, but with an agenda comes a collective plan with marching orders of what we're going to do. Did you see how you spelled out how individuals carry the banner of oppression in their unique way, some even subconsciously? When we get to real agenda, when we really absorb how we are going to move the fullness of our people, even in our subconscious, we'll be making moves that will be advancing the interests of our people, coming out of an ideology. And that's what makes America continue to push forward in the way that it does. It's constantly pushed a white agenda ideology.
And you're right. And you're right. And that has to be at the core. And I hear you, Will, and I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. There has to be, I agree that there's an ideology behind it. And so as long as you understand the ideology, you might not have the specific bullet points, but this is the ideology. This is what we're pushing. And so we're going to make sure that everything we do lines up with this ideology. What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about your existence, about your community, about what it should be, right? What is the thing that is the foundational belief that drives you? You know what I'm saying? So if you have a foundational belief that drives you, then everything that you do should derive from that, right? You have people of faith, and, my faith drives me in what I do. I believe that I should love my neighbor. I believe that I should treat people decently. I believe that I should pray without ceasing. I believe that there are some things that I should be doing to bring about justice. Like for me, when I talk about faith, I'm talking about justice. You understand? And so, I'm going to be out in the street. Yep, I'm going to go to the hood. This pandemic, all right, I'm going to put on my mask. I'm going to the hood. I'm going to try to get some brothers some jobs. That's what I'm going to do because my faith drives me, right? I'm going to take care of my family, right? Because that's what my faith commands me to do. Like that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm going to call out injustice because you know what? That's what I'm supposed to be doing because I'm driven by a specific ideology. I love black people. I told you the other day, Kwesa, there's people who are feminists. There's people who are humanists. I'm a blackist, right? That's what I love my people. And so we're going to do what we got to do for our people. Like if that ideology drives you, then, everything that you do will flow from that. You know what I mean? I want to know what you think. What is the black agenda? 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. I am pleased that Joe Biden put a black woman on the ticket. I think that took courage for him to do that, to be honest, because it's going to cost him some white votes. That's going to cost him something, right? But when you do the cost-benefit analysis and you look and say, okay, this is what it's going to cost, but this is how it's going to benefit. Black women are the most loyal demographic of the Democratic Party. They are literally the backbone of the party. And so he knows it's going to cost him some white votes, but he believes it's going to benefit him in the end because black women, that backbone of the party is going to be shored up. And we're happy to see that. But then, you know, after we finish being happy to see that, what's the agenda? What do we want from it? What do we hope to gain from it? What do we hope to get in our community from that decision, from this ticket, from this party? What are we hoping to get? What are we demanding? Because power concedes nothing without a demand. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the show. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Dietz & Watson has been making premium meats and artisan cheeses for over 80 years. And when it comes to stacking sandwiches and party platters, they've got something for everyone in the family, like maple honey turkey breast, American cheese, buffalo chicken, and more. So get to your local deli and taste 4 generations of family recipes. With Dietz & Watson on the table, you'll have everyone coming back for seconds and thirds. Dietz & Watson, it's a family thing since 1939.
COVID-19, rising infections, red alert levels, and worries about reopening. What can you do? The Germ Killer's two-step products and services disinfect and protect for up to 90 days to give you peace of mind. The Germ Killer's system kills viruses and bacteria on high-touch surfaces in schools, houses of worship, businesses, and public transportation. Decontaminate immediately and keep students, school staff, congregations, or customers safe for months. Go to thegermkillers.com and get the coverage and safety you deserve.
Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation?
Follow us on social media
using the hashtag onWURD.
Be heard.
Stay connected to Word Radio.
Independent Black Media.
Philadelphia families, PHL Pre-K, the city's free pre-K program, is now enrolling. Over 130 pre-K centers are getting ready to serve children this year with appropriate health and safety precautions. There are no income limits for this free pre-K program. Children who are 3 or 4 years old as of September 1 can enroll. Call 844-PHL Pre-K or visit phlprek.org to learn more and find a quality pre-K center. That's 844-PHL Pre-K. This program is made possible by the Philadelphia Beverage Tax.
Now, a traffic update
on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance, where you only pay for what you need. Southbound 95, you're jammed there this morning. Cobman down the bridge through that work end. Betsy Ross through Girard busy. Northbound side, you're jammed there from Bridge to Cobman Avenue. Still an accident with restrictions as a result of this crash again on the northbound side. Southbound, again, delays. Cobman down through Bridge through that work. Schuylkill Expressway westbound there to the Vine. You're jammed there through construction. Further west at the Blue Ridge, earlier delays there have eased out. Eastbound 76, no major problems. Westbound Vine, slowing it down through Broadbent Heavy Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. PA Turnpike, Blue Ridge 476, looking good. 55 northbound, Deptford into 42. That is a busy ride. Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your coverage so you only pay for what you need. Customize your coverage with Liberty Mutual Insurance. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. Kawesa, I should have invested in hand sanitizer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We would be like triple billionaires by now. We would.
We should have went in like 50-50 on like a hand sanitizer investment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm constantly, and for those of you who are watching on Facebook, of course, you see me cleaning the glass and, you know what I mean? We doing our thing and trying to make sure that that we are safe and everything is kind of sanitized and all of that. But I really I remember going to an event, and there was one of our content partners, WHYY, was giving out these little spray things of hand sanitizer. They were like, oh, go ahead, take 10, right? And I did. Like, all right, you know what I mean? And I'm still, I got some of them still now. I found some of them, I take stuff and put them in a drawer, and then I look, oh, this is new. And but that's when you didn't think much of it, because it's like alcohol and maybe some scent. Maybe they might have some aloe in it or whatever, but it's not, it's not an expensive product. But now it's like gold. Oh, you got some hand sanitizer? Yo, I'll meet you in the corner.
Right. I got that hookup.
I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. I want to remind you to join us this Thursday, August 20th, for our annual Founders Day celebration honoring the life and legacy of Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD, Philly-born physician, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and founder of WURD Radio. We'll devote the entire day from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. to special Founders Day programming that includes panels on doctors fighting on the front lines for access and equity, economic empowerment through entrepreneurship, celebrating the 100th anniversary of the women's right to vote with black women elected officials, and reflections on Dr. Lomax's legacy with family and friends throughout the day. You can get a special membership at $80. It's usually $90. Jump on that. Of course, you can listen on the radio at 900 AM, 96.1 FM, or online at WURDradio.com, where you can also go to register for Founders Day. So make sure that you do that. And make sure that you give us a call at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is one of the numbers that you can call to get in. Of course, you can also call us toll-free, 866-361-0900. We want to hear from you. Give us a call and let us know what you think. I mean, what is the black agenda? We're all happy that Kamala Harris is on the ticket, most of us. And I think that it's good to see a black face, a black woman. That is a historic choice, and we will see what happens with that. But I think beyond that, what is the agenda? Okay, she's there now. That's great. Simone Sanders is Joe Biden's senior advisor. That's wonderful. Michelle Obama, of course, is the conscience and really a kind of a spirit guide for the party. When she talks, you listen. You listen because you know that she means what she says. You know that it comes from a place of love, that it comes from a place of honesty, that it comes from a place of just realness. You know what I mean? Like, so you're listening to her, and you have these black women in these key positions. And that's a wonderful thing. But now what's the agenda? Now what do we expect to be done? Now what do we demand in terms of results from that? And I think that's important for us to establish right up front. I want to hear from you. Give me a call. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are in these various things we're talking about on this morning show. Let's talk to Sherry from West Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Sherry.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
So I would like to take you back. When we had Obama as the president, we pretty much said that, okay, Obama understands what we need. He understands the agenda, legal reform, the economy, and of course, investment into small businesses and an investment into HBCUs. So he came into office because you already know that we are in a recession, in wars, things were really bad. Things were really, really bad. And in that midst of things that are really, really terrible and bad, he was able to pass the Affordable Care Act that helped a lot of our own people. A lot of our own people. And for those people out there who said Obama did not do anything, they should think again. And Solomon, we only gave him mandate for 2 years. In the midterm election, we did not go out there to vote. So this man can continue can continue to work with Congress, who are in charge. No, we hand that over to Republicans. Everything this man was saying, let's do, Republicans said no. No, no, no. And now, Eric Holder, this Attorney General, they were doing all the reforms across this country, policing, everything, the legal system. Now, fast forward, this man came into office, rescind everything. Jeff Sessions, they go, they change everything. So if we are going to talk about, the agenda for ourselves, we talk about economy, we talk about legal reform. But again, Kamala Harris is there in the ticket. If Joe Biden wins, we give them a mandate. There's so many problems that has to be solved, but we have to continue to go out there to vote and have Democrats in control of both the Senate and both the House, so we can forward our agenda and make these into laws.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say, Solomon.
All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go to Fishman in University City on line 1. Good morning.
Good morning, brother.
Good morning.
I'm a cruiser. I want to keep it light this morning. Me and my family, we enjoy cruising.
Okay.
How many cruises have you been on?
1.
We got 11 under our belt.
Okay.
We're going to 12 this year.
Mm-hmm.
We enjoy the carnival breeze. And what activity did you enjoy while you was on the boat?
Eating. Eating. They had several restaurants on the ship. I loved it.
Did you go on the carnival ship?
No, we went on Norwegian.
We only do Carnival.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2013, they upgraded us to the spa deck.
Okay.
And did you live inside or did you have a balcony?
No, we didn't have a balcony.
Oh my goodness, man!
We need a balcony.
When things, and you always get the port side.
Okay.
When the ship pulls into the island or whatever, you can see all the beauty and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But man, we missed it. We was going on this year, and this thing happened, and now, like you said, we just look at pictures and talk about it.
That's it.
But I want to be about it so bad.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm looking forward to getting back to it. Fishman, thank you, man. It brings back some memories. We appreciate that. It's summer, and we haven't been able to go on a vacation. We went to a bed and breakfast. We loved it. Right? Just a very nice and relaxed atmosphere, because with all of this craziness, man, at some point I just want to just sit down and relax and be able to, just be someplace where the people are nice, and you know what I mean? Like at some point you just want to do something different, but this is crazy. This right here is crazy, and that's why I want to make sure that there's always some laughter, there's always some joy in between all of the craziness, the foolishness, the Trump, the racism, there always got to be some joy in between, Coasis. Always got to be some of that, because if not, I go crazy. And if I go crazy, you know what I mean? Look here, we can't afford it.
We can't. We can't. I need for you to be as sane as possible.
Oh man. But yeah, cruises. Vacations, Now, a lot of the kids going to the beach. My kids have gone to the beach. We went to the beach twice over the course of this summer. But, we sitting there. We got on masks. We might take them down if ain't nobody around. People come around. You pull your mask back up. You got your hand sanitizer. You just putting it on just because somebody walked by. Like, you know what? I think some germs might have, that whole thing. This is crazy. And so, remembering what life was like before, man, it's a good thing. And sometimes it can be kind of sad, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing, and it's something to really look forward to, that maybe at some point when we get past this, we can get back to some semblance of normalcy. Let's talk to Esther from Manayunk on line 3. Go ahead, Esther. I can't hear Esther.
Good morning. I'm sorry. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning. In regard to Biden and Kamala Harris ticket, I would like to see, because you asked the question, what should be the black agenda?
Yes.
Basically, I have something in my mind, but number one, what it has to be is something that benefits black people, and that's tangible. You know, I'm not for all the trickle down effect that we've been getting from the Democratic Party. You know, I'm not even, and you know, the Republicans don't want to do, you know, but it's like I'm not satisfied, Solomon, honestly, with the Democratic Party. You know, because it's like it's a bunch of talk and it's nothing tangible for black people. So I'm really not impressed with black people being on a ticket if black people are not going to vote black, if black people are not going to be in our best interest and our interest at heart. Our people are suffering. This COVID is hitting us triple hard. We've already, like, it's like what they say, white people get a sneeze, we get pneumonia. You know, so, you know, like we are before COVID, we was the last one hired, first one fired. You know, now it's just like, I just want to see tangibles for black people and a black agenda. Thank you. And that's all I wanted to say.
I hear you, and I want to thank you so much for that, and I appreciate that, and I think that it really has to come down to that. It has to come back. I need to see something. You know what I mean? I need to see something that I can actually touch, something that I can actually quantify, something I can actually count, like, okay, we got this much money, right? Or we got this specific opportunity, we got this specific piece of legislation, we got this specific change. Like, it needs to be something that you can see, that you can feel, that you can touch. So, Esther, I appreciate that. I think you speak for all of us when you say we want something tangible. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the show. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Fridays, it's right here on Word Radio. At 6 a.m., start your day with Daybreak, hosted by Helana. At 7, it's time to wake up with Word,
with host Solomon Jones.
Then at 10, it's a special edition of The Source,
with Tiffany Bacon.
Followed by Groundings at 1 p.m., hosted by Brothers Shamari.
At 4 p.m.,
it's Laborers Live, hosted by Lessit. Then at 5, it's Solutions on Word. At 7 p.m., it's the Envy McKee Show. Then at 10, it's Freedom Sounds of Jazz, followed up by Messages in the Music, hosted by Joey Temple.
Fridays are something special
on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live at wordradio.com and on the Word Radio app.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's Substance Use Disorder Hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP. Recovery starts with a call.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Listen to Laborers Live. We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour work day, trying to work people more than 8 hours without overtime, trying to work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.
The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by Lessit, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity.
Local 332, Sam Staten Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager, and Tony Staten, Executive Director of Lessit.
We will never know how many of our friends and family members didn't get COVID-19 because we followed safeguards. We'll never know that number. This is Dan Hilferty, CEO of Independence Blue Cross, with a simple reminder of how much good we do for others when we protect ourselves. We'll never know how many lives we save because we wear masks, wash our hands frequently, and keep social distance. We'll never know exactly who we help, who we save when we take protective steps each day. We'll only know one thing for certain, that we did all we could to save people from the effects of a pandemic with the potential to overwhelm the region. And that's a nice thing for us to live with. Thank you all. For more on what you can do, visit IBX.com. Together, we are beating COVID-19.
This is Word Radio. 96.1 FM. And 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media. Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance, where you only pay for what you need. Southbound 95, you're jammed there this morning. Cobman down the bridge through that work end. Betsy Ross through Girard busy. Northbound side, you're jammed there from Bridge to Cobman Avenue. Still an accident with restrictions as a result of this crash again on the northbound side. Southbound, again, delays Cobman down through Bridge through that work. Schuylkill Expressway westbound there to the Vine. You're jammed there through construction. Further west at the Blue Ridge, earlier delays there have eased out. Eastbound 76, no major problems. Westbound Vine slowly down through Broadbent Heavy Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. PA Turnpike, Blue Ridge 476 looking good. 55 northbound, Deptford into 42. That is a busy ride. Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your coverage so you only pay for what you need. Customize your coverage with Liberty Mutual Insurance. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're waking up with Word. Hosted by Solomon Jones. Good morning. Right now on Word Radio. 96.1 FM. And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Joining us now is Albert Samaha. He is an investigative reporter for BuzzFeed News based in New York. He co-authored an article detailing documents showing how the feds monitor Black Lives Matter protesters. Albert, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. So you guys did a Freedom of Information Act request to get these documents. Is that right?
That's right, yeah. My colleague Jason Leopold is one of the best in the business at getting these documents. I think he requested them shortly after the protest started. And even he said of all the hundreds of requests he's made, thousands, this turned around faster than almost any federal request he's made.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that was?
It's a great question. You know, and the only answers I can give is speculative, but it could just be as simple as there's someone someone there in the federal government that thought that the information here was important to get out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so what did you learn from these documents about the federal response to these protests?
So I think the basic things we learn are things that we've seen in the past, and that things that we were able to confirm in the present. And that was that, one, the federal government was closely monitoring Black Lives Matter protesters, largely through social media, through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and that they put a lot of their focus on Black Lives Matter protesters, not a lot of focus on kind of the white supremacist and far right-wing groups like the Boogaloo Boys and some of these other groups. They really didn't have much mention in these protests, even though, as we've seen, dating back 2017, even before that, are often kind of involved either in counter-protests or in trying to instigate things. And we also learned that the kind of role that the Federal Protective Service plays, which is a division within the Department of Homeland Security, that their role was nationwide, and that they were regularly communicating not just the size of protests nationwide, but kind of the movement, and just tracking it kind of as close as we've seen law enforcement track other Black Lives Matter protests in the past.
Mm-hmm. Now, you alluded to this being sort of reminiscent of some of the things that we've seen in the past where these kinds of protests are concerned. What did you mean?
I mean, I think what wasn't totally surprising to us was that this monitoring of protesting were going on. I mean, we've seen for several years now law enforcement, not just federal law enforcement, but local law enforcement, NYPD and some other departments have tracked protesters, have tracked protesters using the same tools that they've used to track criminal organizations, track drug organizations, and monitoring protesters the way they monitor people that are suspected of committing crimes, whether that's through using facial recognition software, whether that's through just tracking them on social media or surveilling them through various technological means or means on the ground. So kind of those methods that we saw here were not particularly unique to these protests, but we had yet to see kind of the ways they were applied specifically before we got these documents.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so let's drill down a little bit on what the Federal Protective Service actually did to monitor these Black Lives Matter protests. What did they actually do? What did the documents reveal?
So one of the interesting things was that it appeared one of their most regular sources for tracking the protests was simply going through Facebook groups and Facebook events. You'll see in the documents that they use the Facebook events to show how many people click to respond that they're attending, how many people are actually attending, how many people are interested in, kind of almost using those numbers that we all see on those Facebook event groups as almost like official data of like, here's how many people we expected this protest. They tracked pretty in detail every instance of graffiti, every instance of vandalism, every instance of violence, big or small. Ton of photos of these graffitis. They monitored protests from different angles, from kind of on roofs, taking photos. And I think the level of detail and specificity in how much they monitored the protest was, to me, pretty interesting because, we kind of expect to see that, if there was a big, high-profile event that we heard of on the news, whether it's in Portland or D.C., that there would be a lot of focus on that. But there was just as much attention on kind of instances of graffiti on some federal courthouse where there was not really much protest or any other sort of graffiti, right? Like one kind of email thread showed that the agents were kind of debating what to do when someone had put a Black Lives Matter sign in front of a courthouse. Without any protest, without any sort of graffiti. So it was monitoring all the damage that they found, all the property damage, all the graffiti, and all the gatherings of people.
Mm-hmm. So they monitored social media. Was there any connection between what was happening in terms of the monitoring and what we saw, for example, in Portland when they were actually snatching people off the streets, putting them in the unmarked vans, that kind of thing?
I mean, from a broad sense, yes. From a broad sense, the connection is that the federal government dispatched a wide range of agencies to crack down on these protests. The documents we have are limited in several ways. One, they concern the Federal Protective Service, right? Mm-hmm. So we know that the agency that was swooping people up with unmarked cars in Portland, I believe that was Border Patrol, right? So we don't know the communications there yet. We didn't get those documents. And even the documents we got, a lot is redacted, which is often the case when you get federal documents. So you don't really know what you don't know. You don't know what's in the kind of blacked out parts. For example, the most interesting thing we don't know is in one of the communications between high-level agents with the Federal Protective Services. We see a deputy kind of asking in an email thread on the day of the Lafayette Park DC protest. The U.S. Park Police asked for their help to help respond to these protests. And the deputy asked in an email directed at the agency's legal team, says, lawyers, do we have legal jurisdiction for this, to handle protests at this particular property? Mm-hmm. Which would great to know that answer. Unfortunately, that answer was redacted. We don't know what the lawyer said to that. So those are the sorts of communications where we only have a small sense of how exactly these operations were planned. And we can only kind of connect the dots based on what we see on the ground, what we see from the video footage, and what is available in these documents.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything in addition to their monitoring of social media that they use in terms of methods for monitoring these Black Lives Matter protests?
In message, you mean in terms of kind of identifying who is involved?
Yes.
You know, it's hard to say, you know, because we don't know what has been redacted. We don't know what role other agencies played in communicating with Federal Protective Services and kind of feeding them intelligence. But I think one thing that stood out was in their sort of intelligence briefings that they distributed early on, they didn't, while they didn't kind of specifically identify here's kind of the types of protesters we should look into, they identified the sorts of violence that they were concerned about seeing at these protests. And one of the specific types of violence they brought up was vehicle ramming attacks against pedestrians. And, you know, sadly, as we did see, there would be, you know, a couple dozen cases of that across the country over those weeks of protests. And, you know, the majority of them that were caught were tied to white supremacist groups. But if you look at the intelligence reports, there's no mention of any kind of involvement of white supremacist groups in these sorts of attacks, even though one of the most high profile in the U.S. took place by white supremacists in Charlottesville in 2017. Instead, the intelligence report shows that they're concerned about Islamic extremist groups, ISIS and Al-Qaeda, conducting these vehicle ramming attacks, citing these attacks in Europe. With really no, I mean, there's really no history of Islamic extremist groups, you know, instigating things or participating, like in getting involved in any sort of domestic protests in the U.S. And yet this was still kind of showed the sort of mindset law enforcement had coming into this and kind of trying to anticipate where the problem would come from. They focused it on kind of these misdirected mindsets.
Was there anything in there about the protests that took place, for example, in Michigan, where people went to the state capitol armed, heavily armed, and threatened state lawmakers there? Was there any mention of that?
There were a few where you would see mentioned briefly in a couple of emails. I don't remember if it was Michigan specifically, but at least in other places. That they would say there's an armed group of protesters at this place, and they have AR-15s. The documents do not distinguish what the motivations are of these groups, whether they're protesters or counter-protesters. They would just sort of mention there's a group of people who have, you know, machine guns and assault weapons, without going further into it, without definitely the sort of detail we're seeing in terms of every, you know, granular graffiti that's mentioned is photographed and tracked and listed on a spreadsheet. In terms of the groups that had the weapons at the protest, very little information on those groups.
Okay, so the overall impression that you got from looking at these documents of what was being monitored and what was not, what was the overall impression that you got from looking through these documents?
The impression was that law enforcement was coming into these protests early on from the start, expecting a fight, expecting combat. That was the language that was being used. Is, you know, they're going to be using weapons. They're you know, they're going to try to provoke us. And that's the specific threat they were concerned about came from Black Lives Matter protesters, and that their entire operation was not so much focused on, you know, just let's maintain the peace, let's expect things to go well. It was a lot of warning, and you can't help but wonder, especially when we see how things eventually played out over the course of that week.
Yeah.
You know, this is what happens when you come in expecting a fight, you may find one.
That is Albert Samaha. He's an investigative reporter for BuzzFeed News based in New York. He co-authored a story about documents that they were able to secure from the federal government about the Federal Protective Service response to Black Lives Matter protests. Where can people find your work?
It'll be on BuzzFeedNews.com.
All right. Albert, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning on WURD.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So we want to hear from you. You can certainly give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. You can also, of course, hit us on Facebook with your comments, and you can watch us there on Facebook as well. On Facebook, we're at FORWURD. That's FORWURD. And let us know where you are in these various things that we're talking about on this morning show. So BuzzFeed was able to get the documents, the emails, the messages that show the focus of the Federal Protective Service on the Black Lives Matter protests, not so much on the white supremacist protesters. Not so much on the people showing up with, like, you know, all of these guns and trucks and military fatigues and all of this stuff. I think that's interesting, Kwesa, because when you go into it with preconceived notions, and I thought Albert put it well, he said when you go in expecting a fight, that's probably what you're going to get. You know what I mean? So I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. Let's go to Richard from Merchantville, New Jersey on line 1. Go ahead, Richard.
Hey, man, how you doing this morning, bro?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Okay. Listen, I was on my way home from work. This first time I've ever called in or listened to your program.
Oh, thank you.
I love what you're doing, man.
Thank you, brother.
I just wanted to let you know I'll be a regular listener from now on.
Oh, man, I appreciate that. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your call this morning. We look to hear from you more.
All right. God bless you, and keep doing what you're doing, man.
God bless you, too, and thank you so much. So
no problem.
We always appreciate new listeners, new callers. We love to share this information with our folks. So thank you so much. We want to hear from you, though. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation. Bill from Philly is on line 2. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, I was hearing about the Freedom of Information Act request and surveillance on Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to be this guy, but it's almost counterintuitive for us to keep voting for the Democrats because they're funding the intelligence state. And same thing Republicans too. Is, you know, we keep funding us and keep chipping away our own civil liberties. It's counterintuitive, and it's been going on since the 60s and 70s, since COINTELPRO. If COINTELPRO even ended.
So
that's my 2 cents.
So let me just expand on your 2 cents and just ask you. So if we shouldn't vote for the Democrats and we shouldn't vote for the Republicans because they're both funding the intelligence apparatus, which every country needs. Every country needs somebody to figure out what's going on. What should we do then?
I'm green. I'm voting green this year.
You're voting green? Okay.
Yeah, I think really. You know, if we get the Green Party to 5% and get them on a national debate, you know, they're going to be able to out-debate any Republican and any Democrat because I think we stand on principles and not platitudes and
but y'all don't win.
Politics. But I mean,
your party can't win. I'm just curious as to you know what it is that you hope to achieve by, you know, backing party that you know cannot win.
Well, I don't think that's true. I think that
you think that they can win. You think they're going to win the presidency?
Yes, I think
this year.
8 years. It's not this year. I think it's going to be an 8-year plan. I think we have to get them to 5% so we can get them on a national debate. Once we get them to a national debate, then we can start winning elections.
Well, why can't they get on a national debate stage now?
Because they're not polling at 5%. You have to poll at 5%. Any independent party has to poll at 5%. In order to get on a national debate.
So how is your party getting its message out to even get to 5%?
We're doing phone banking. I'm about to start going door to door. I think right now so many people are dissatisfied with this country and the Democratic Party is ripe for a third party.
Who's your candidate? What? We don't even know who's your candidate.
Howie Hawkins and
who's that?
I forgot the sister's name.
What do you ever do? Like, what's his experience? Sell me on your candidate. Who's your candidate? What does he do?
activist, and I really can. I'm not as well versed as I should be.
Well, how you vote for somebody you're not well versed on them?
Well, it's not. The thing is,
Come on, bro.
But that's different. The Democrats and the Republicans. It's platform based. You know, it's not about what does this person do. What about this person's wife?
If you vote for a person for president, you mean to tell me you can't? I just told you, sell me on your candidate. You like I'm not well versed. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me.
But I can tell you about the Green Party's platform, and I can tell you about the Democrats' platform.
So what that? Wait a minute. I want to ask you a question. Okay, we gonna mute you for a minute so I can ask you this question. If you don't let me ask you the question. So my question is this: if in fact you know nothing about the candidate, and your vote is based on the party, then what that sounds like is that you are voting for a system and not a person.
Yeah, that would be correct.
Okay,
yeah, that'd be correct. Yeah.
So why then don't you know anything about your candidate?
Just not anything. I know some things. You know, I know certain things that they represent. You know, I know they represent reparations for black people. I know they represent getting money out of politics. I know they're anti-imperialism, they're anti-war. And these are things that historically black people have been pro. You know, if you look at Kwame Ture and Malcolm X.
Yeah, but we're not talking about Kwame Ture and Malcolm X. We talking about Howie. What's his name? Howie what? What's his last name?
Thinkers. Those were Hawkins.
Howie Hawkins. We talking about Howie Hawkins right now.
Yes, sir.
So if I'm just curious as to how you don't know anything about your candidate, but you going to vote for him for president.
So let me answer your question. I know their ideologies match up more with our great black leaders and black thinkers.
Yeah,
Malcolm X would be turning in his grave if he saw black people coming out for Kamala Harris.
See, I don't think he would, actually. I really don't think he would. I think that Malcolm X had a very international point of view by the time he died. You know what I mean? But we're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue this conversation. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WRD. We'll be right back.
If you want to start your morning with mindfulness, motivation, and inspiration, tune in to Daybreak with me, Helana, here on WURD Radio, Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 a.m. I'm a health and wellness coach with over 15 years experience helping people to transform their lives. On the show, we talk health and wellness 360, from getting your mind right to getting your money right. So let's rise and shine together right here on WURDradio.com, 96.1 FM, 900 on your AM dial on Daybreak every morning.
What's up, everyone? I know you know the word, no, not the station, but this word, J-O-B, that is, and our friends at Amoroso's Baking Company are hiring right now. Amoroso's has been baking the delicious bread in our community for over 100 years, and they want you to join their team today. The old and the young love Amoroso's, and they are hiring right now. Check it out. They offer fair pay and provide health, dental, and prescription plans after 90 days employment. Call 856-754-0355 or visit amorososbaking.com for details.
This is Word Radio, independent black media.
COVID-19, rising infections, red alert levels, and worries about reopening. What can you do? The Germ Killer's two-step products and services disinfect and protect for up to 90 days to give you peace of mind. The Germ Killer's system kills viruses and bacteria on high-touch surfaces in schools, houses of worship, businesses, and public transportation. Decontaminate immediately and keep students, school staff, congregations, or customers safe for months. Go to thegermkillers.com and get the coverage and safety you deserve.
The Word Radio newsletter,
keeping you informed, engaged, and connected.
Sign up by visiting wordradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on Word Radio. Messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese. Exclusive articles and multimedia content and resources.
Stay informed
with the Word Radio newsletter. Now, a traffic update
on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report's sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance, where you only pay for what you need. Northbound 95, traffic out of jam from Bridge to Cobbett Avenue. Still restrictions there. Accidents still being worked on. A heavy ride northbound, southbound side. You're busy coming down the bridge through that work zone. Again, Betsy Ross through Girard. Westbound Vine, that slows from 8th Street out through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill westbound there to the Vine. You're jammed there down to one lane with construction. Eastbound side, a little slow. Blue Route through Gladwin, PA Turnpike. Blue Route 476 in pretty good shape this morning. Heading into Philadelphia, Ben Franklin Bridge, you're going to find that a busy ride out of the midspan down into Center City. Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your coverage, so you only pay for what you need. Customize your coverage with Liberty Mutual Insurance. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio. 96.1 FM. And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. We are awaiting a call from Shirley Ralph. She was going to talk to us about a panel. It's going to happen with some black women in politics. But in the meantime, we're going to take your calls. So I'm going to go right to the phone lines, talk to Bill from, Clyde from Philly on line 4. Go ahead, Clyde.
Hey, Solomon, how you doing? Thank you for taking
I'm
my
good,
call.
brother. Absolutely.
Good. I was listening to the last caller, and one of the things about these elections is that I don't think everything is fully explained or everything is put out there. I mean, he brought up a good point about the Green Party, which nobody talks about, nobody gets into or anything like that there. And before you make any comments concerning that party, remember that a pro wrestler won a term up in Minnesota as governor.
Yep.
So the possibilities are there, and like I said, a lot of things are not explained about the stuff. But like all these votes that took place, in the Supreme Court concerning the electoral vote and a lot of other things. So I mean, this is a sense of fairness and balance. I think all those things should be explained. I mean, a very important decision came in the Supreme Court that virtually nobody knew about.
What's
nobody
that?
really knew about Solomon.
What's
so
that?
I'm just saying that.
What's that, Clyde? What decision? What decision?
Concerning the electoral vote, Solomon.
What decision? I don't know what you're talking about. Explain the decision you're talking about.
They took a vote about the electoral vote, and that I believe that you can vote. You can vote the way you want to vote instead of voting for the entire party. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay, we'll look it up. We'll look it up and try to see what it is that you're trying to explain. Here's and Clyde, I want to thank you for your comment, but here's what I think. I think that ultimately that a vote for the Green Party is a vote for Trump. If you vote for somebody that you know can't win, in my view, that's a vote for Trump. Now, I think people should vote their conscience. I think they should vote what they want to do. But I think also you got to understand the ultimate effect of what you're doing. If you voting for somebody a third party candidate who can't win, you voting for Trump. That's what you're doing, because that's taken away from somebody who actually can win. And so that's my view. And here's the other thing. I think that if, in fact, you are an ardent supporter of this party and their ticket, you should at least know the name of the person who's on the ticket. Don't call me talking about it's a female running as the vice presidential candidate. Okay, who? I don't know. What do you mean? And you going door to door for people you don't know? That's ridiculous. At some point, I think we just got to kind of think about what it is we're doing. I'm going to go back to the phone lines, 215-634-8065. Jerry from West Philly's on line 3. Go ahead, Jerry.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, you hit it right on the news. See what's going on, and I was praying about it, and then I thought about it. What's really going on? Because we have, what is it called, male chauvinists.
Mm-hmm.
They're so used of a man being a president.
Mm-hmm.
And I even had my cousin telling me, oh, we're not ready for a female president. Even though she's not going to be the president, she is going to be the vice president. And you still have people in that mindset. It doesn't matter where she comes from because they've been using that as an excuse instead of straight up telling the truth. What it is that they don't think that a woman, whether they proved it, whether it be Hillary, and she was Caucasian, or Harris, which is African-American, they have a problem that a female cannot do the job as like a man would, straight up. Got to be honest, and they need to be honest, too. So another thing, too, can you explain that again? Because I asked you before, you gave me the answer, but I forget how it works, that if you're a registered voter and you go into that poll and vote, that if you do not pick 45 or Biden, that your vote will go to 45?
No. So what I'm saying is this. Sure. So let me explain it this way. When you had Jill Stein, for instance, who ran in 2016.
Yeah.
Jill Stein might have got a couple thousand votes in Pennsylvania. Now, people who voted for Jill Stein, probably if Jill Stein wasn't on the ticket, probably would have voted for Hillary Clinton. Those votes that went to Jill Stein were votes that did not go to Hillary Clinton, and therefore those votes helped Donald Trump to win the state by a thin margin. Same thing with any, independent candidate that can't win. Now, if the candidate can win, certainly, you want to do whatever you want to do in terms of your vote. But when you vote for a third-party candidate at the expense of a candidate who can actually win, then you might be helping the candidate you don't want. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Thank you so much for explaining that.
All right.
But real quick, I don't know why I say that because I sound like the people say real quick and they long. But anyway, I always had a problem with people saying that, I don't lost my train of thought. But anyway, all we can do is just pray and pray that Biden gets in there. And I like the fact what you said is that as African American, we need to have agenda. We need to ask our state representatives, everything else, what can you do for us? Because, see, we're good for talking behind the scene. We got a whole lot of mouth, but when it comes to action, we don't do anything. And that's where I have a problem. Put your action behind your talk. Don't just talk. But like they said, when you talk, walk it as well. Okay, have a good day.
All right, thank you. We appreciate your call this morning on WURD Radio. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. And let us know where you are on any of these things that we are talking about on this morning show, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation. Let's go to Shirley Ralph. That is our guest who is calling in this morning. She is an actress, singer, author, and activist. And she joins us to talk about women of color leading the way, a virtual panel hosted by Biden for president. Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, but you know something, being here in Philadelphia, quarantined here for the past 7 months, you left out the most important
That's
part.
right, the wife of Senator Vincent Hughes.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Much. The chair of appropriation, the history-making black man, first black man to sit in that position.
You better go ahead.
It's so interesting because I always say to myself, it is always easy to underplay the important things that truly happen in our lives. And when we don't have people who know what's important to us and fight for us, things don't happen for us. So that's an important part of who I am, Mrs. Senator Vincent Hughes.
All right, I hear you, and I appreciate that. Your husband just texted me like, all right, my wife trying to call. What number should she?
Because, you know, whenever I do press, my publicist will call 2 minutes or 3 minutes early to make sure everything's set up. So I called in early and no one answered. Then I called in on time and no one answered. And I said, honey, I know you know this man. Why don't you text him, please? And see what happened? Somebody who had my interest in mind, had the phone number and gave me the contact. And here we are.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We didn't see the phone ring, so we apologize for that. So, you know, that's what it is. So I'm going to ask you the question that I've been asking the audience this morning, because we've seen a lot of black women certainly front and center in this campaign for the Democratic Party. We think it's a great thing to see. But what is the black agenda that that we are pushing for beyond just the sight of seeing us up front?
I think the important thing to remember is today we're celebrating 101 days of the ratification of the 19th Amendment, and that was the right for women to vote, period. Yesterday I posted something on my Instagram that said, but who was really included? Was it all women? Well, certainly it was not, because I'll never forget the fact that Seneca Falls, Sojourner Truth, literally had to sojourn. She had to walk behind the white suffragists. Walk. When she made that statement that said, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Nobody's offered me a carriage, helped me over puddles, given me any tea to drink. Ain't I a woman? I think what we're seeing here on this 101st day is a bit of a focus on the lens so that people can actually see black women, actually get to understand and hear them when they speak from platforms of power with intelligence and education, that these women are ready, just as Sojourner Truth was ready back then, and nobody wanted to pay attention to her because she was just another N-word, and certainly not educated, certainly not intelligent. Well, guess what? We are here. We are strong, and I'm very happy that someone thought enough, because you know it had to be strategic. It had to be strategic for these black women to be put in the position to be seen. So when you talk about what is the strategy after this, the strategy after this is to support them. The strategy after this is to vote for them. There should be no reason why Sabrina Fulton down in Miami-Dade is struggling for votes. She lost her son, Trayvon. She stepped up to the plate in order to put herself on a platform to vote, to once again have our interests in mind.
I hear you, but the question I asked was not what we should do. I think the question was what should the agenda be? So, in other words, what demands do you think, and I'm asking your opinion on this, we should make in exchange for our vote? Certainly, we are going to vote, and I think people are going to decide how they want to vote. But what should the demands be that we make in exchange for our vote? Our vote should not be just free.
You're a smart man. You are a smart man.
Yes.
You're no dumb man. You're a smart man. And you know that right about now, that kind of conversation is something we're going to have after we get a change in this awful regime that's trying to plant itself in America.
You think so?
You know that right now the agenda must be getting out the vote. The agenda must be engaging all black folks, including black men. Now, after that happens, of course, you know, in exchange for our vote, we want an all-out frontal attack on systematic racism. You know that we want an all-out frontal attack on the growing, spreading virus of economic inequality. We've got people in Philadelphia parked out there, sleeping out there in the park, trying to tell you they need more homes. We know that for too long, black folks, and let's add brown folks in this, have been denied our nation's promise that we should just be as happy as everybody else and be able to pursue our lives, not thinking that somebody's going to come up and try and kill us, shoot us, although a lot of that is happening in our own communities right now. We have to demand and know that with all the killings that we're seeing right now in our communities, and it's not just Philadelphia, it's all big urban cities right now, that police reform is real.
Yeah, not to interrupt, but we have to get ready to go to break. So what you're saying is that we should be talking about police reform, systemic racism, and housing. Those are the three things I heard you name. Can you tell us where this panel is going to be taking place and how people can get more information about it?
This panel is going to be one of the pre-panels that is coming on before the convention, which will take place. You can go right to my Twitter. The link is right up there. If you haven't received an invite already, you can go to my Twitter. It's posted up there. Just follow the link and get yourself invited so that you can watch and see the powerful women that we've got talking from across Pennsylvania. We've got Philadelphia City Council Majority Leader Sherelle Parker, who will be speaking, State Representative Patty Kim, who will be speaking, Bethlehem City Councilwoman Olga Negron, who will be speaking, and there may be others by the end of this afternoon. But it's something that we want people to tune into because we've got to get the information. We can't be uninformed and then try and strategize. We've got to know what we're strategizing for.
I agree. And that's why I think we need demands up front. But I want to thank you so much for calling us this morning. Sorry for the confusion. We appreciate you. Please tell Senator Hughes we said hello. Shirley Ralph joining us this morning on WRD. We're going to go to break. On the other side of this break, we're going to continue our conversation right here on WURD.
Walter E. Sabbath Jr. Funeral Service is an independent family-owned funeral and cremation service that has been serving families for over 27 years. We strive to provide compassionate and quality service for all faiths. For pre-need and at-need funeral service planning with a personal touch, call us day or night at 215-924-4101. At Walter E. Sabbath Jr. Funeral Service, we know that whether families choose burial or cremation, the emotional and information needs are the same. Our combination of a licensed funeral director and social worker enables us to meet families where they are and lead them step by step through the many choices before them. If you are looking for a funeral service deemed by our families to be compassionate and professional, we encourage you to call Walter E. Sabbath Jr. Funeral Service at 215-924-4101. That's 215-924-4101. Or visit us at 7224 Ogons Avenue in the West Oak Lane section of Philadelphia. God bless you.
Times are changing, and you deserve a system designed to grow your business. Meet Jaxcom, the new standard in business class voice. Only Jaxcom gives you the most features per dollar. Things like visual voicemail, call monitoring, advanced call queues, virtual assistant, plus a lot more. The stuff the other guys charge you extra for or don't have. Jaxcom proudly supports Black-owned businesses. Reference WORD for 20% off any plan. Jaxcom. Visit us online at jaxcom.net. That's JAXCOM.net.
Support independent black media and join the onWURD movement now at 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com. Join us for our annual Founders Day broadcast, a special virtual on-air and online celebration of our founder, Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD. Thursday, August 20th from 6 a.m. till 9 p.m. Enjoy an entire day of celebration as we recognize that independent black media is more important now than ever, with panel discussions that you can watch on WORD TV via Facebook Live or listen on 900 AM 96.1 FM through wordradio.com or the WORD Radio app, including a conversation conversation with the Lomax family, discussions on black innovation, wealth creation, doctors on the front lines, featuring Dr. Ayla Stanford, self-care strategies during a time of madness, and much more. Plus, updates on our Livelihood Initiative to connect our community with jobs and career opportunities. And what better way to celebrate independent black media than to ensure that it continues to thrive by starting or renewing your 4WURD membership at the discounted rate of just $80 exclusively on Founders Day. It's all going down on air and online from 6 a.m. till 9 p.m. Thursday, August 20th. But be sure to register right now at wordradio.com to be eligible for exclusive prizes and giveaways during our Founders Day broadcast. And stay tuned to Word Radio, sponsored by Pico, Comcast, NBC Universal, Brown's Family ShopRite, Dietz & Watson, Canada Dry, Amoroso's, and Hers.
Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media. Back by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. We're talking about a number of things on this morning's show. My column in the Philadelphia Inquirer really is about, being a lifelong Democrat and looking at where we go from here, because I believe that it's a great thing that there is a black woman on the ticket. I think Senator Harris is very smart. I think that she is strategic, and I think that she will be a good person for the job of vice president. She has some things in her record that, of course, have to be questioned. I think some things that have to be clarified. I think some things that have to be challenged. But what I have realized as a lifelong Democrat, and I've been around for a minute, I ain't no kid, right, is that we have to get more than just black faces in positions. I think that power concedes nothing without a demand, and I think that we have to know what it is that we want specifically in exchange for our votes. And so for me, while I certainly support, I think the Biden-Harris ticket, I think that there have to be some demands in addition to just giving away our support. I think for too long, we've simply just given away our support. So I think that there have to be some demands, which is why I'm asking that question this morning of everyone. What should be on the agenda? So I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. I was down North Philly yesterday, and shout out to Saudia Schuler, who really helped to arrange that. We were down there with Man Up PHL and trying to help some brothers get some jobs. A lot of the people in our most impoverished neighborhoods, the last thing on their mind is the presidential election. They are really trying to live day to day, trying to really survive in a hostile environment, really trying to do better for themselves and for their families. And the last thing on their mind is the presidential election. And so what I recognize is that our people have to have something to vote for, in addition to something to vote against. And so we can't just tell our people just vote for Biden and we'll figure out the rest later. I just, that's not real for a lot of our people. A lot of our people are in positions where they are struggling. And so I think that that all of that has to be addressed for our folks, and which is why I'm asking the question, what is the black agenda? Because I think it's important that we recognize that power concedes nothing without a demand. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on any of these things we're talking about on this morning show. Make sure that you check out the panel. Also, Women of Color Leading the Way. It's a virtual panel hosted by Biden for President. It's going to be playing online prior to the Democratic National Convention, featuring some of our elected officials here, including Councilwoman Sherelle Parker, who happens to be my councilwoman as well. So we want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Tony from Delaware is on line one. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, if I can, I'd like to talk about schools,
Yeah, go ahead.
Harris, and then black women for change.
Sure.
So our demand should be that every school in every inner city should be upgraded to be the most comfortable and state-of-the-art facility, matching any other school in any other county, wealthy county or not, in America. I mean, we've been neglecting our schools for way too long. So that's the one demand.
Okay.
Secondly, Kamala Harris. I would admonish everybody to look at the interview that she did with Stephen Colbert.
Mm-hmm.
And right about the 2-minute 30 mark, where he asked her about basically calling Biden out, and she just laughed it off and says, "Oh, it was just a debate," meaning she is a fraud and has no substance because she did not stand behind her accusations. I mean, it is disgusting. You got to watch the.
You think she's a
YouTube
fraud?
video.
You think she's a fraud?
Well, based on evidence, that's you got to watch it. I mean, I'm not going to just sit here and go back.
Right.
And forth.
I mean, well, no. I mean, you made it. You made a statement. So let's just talk about it. I think that you do one of the things I learned. One of my political mentors, Shaka Fatah, right? He told me that you got to remember that after these debates, this was when he was running for mayor. After these debates, we all gonna have to come back together, and so you only go so far. But after the debate, somebody's gonna win, and we all gonna have to come back together to support that person who wins. And so that is part of the process. That you do what you can to try to win a debate, and then after that, you gotta come back together and support the person who wins. That's how politics works.
No, it's okay to come back together, but to not stand behind your words.
What do you think she should have said? What do you think she should have said?
Well, she should have said, well, that is my stance. I stand by it, but I can let it go, for benefit of the party or whatever. But just to laugh it off and just say it's a debate. So that means anything she says in a debate is fraudulent, in my opinion. So I mean, I'm just basing that on her words. And how she decided to answer a direct question. So anything she says in a debate is worthless. It's just talk.
Anything she says.
And then lastly,
I disagree with you, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, and then lastly, black women for America. Now there is a powerful black woman in Baltimore City running, Kimberly Klacik, and she's getting from the Democrat Party. And
she's getting what?
She's getting from Democrats.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. Try it one more time.
Okay. Kimberly Klacik is getting no love from black Democrats.
Okay.
And I'm wondering why. Is it just because she is a different party affiliation?
Well, what's her party affiliation?
Well, she's a Republican, black Republican.
Okay, so why would black Democrats vote for a Republican if they Democrats?
Well,
what are you
same reason Same reason John Kasich is going for the Democrats.
That John Kasich is one dude, and I want to thank you for your call. But I mean, if you're registered with one party, normally you support your party. Why would you be supporting? And see that's when you start hearing people that you ain't never heard before. You just gotta kind of, what I mean. A lot of that is very interesting because they start saying some stuff that's like, what? Wait, huh? You know, so based on one question in one interview, everything Kamala Harris ever said is a fraud. You know, why aren't we supporting the Republican candidate in Baltimore? See, I can hear your agenda in what you're saying. Let's go to Bree from Germantown on line 2. Go ahead, Bree. Go ahead, Bree.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. I just wanted to say for the last caller, there's no perfect candidate anywhere.
Nope.
We have to go with the best that's closest to what we believe in. So I'm personally for Kamala. Nobody's perfect, including myself. But I wanted to just talk about, what we are expecting and what we need on the agenda for maybe Black America or whatever. I think that we keep getting bombarded with shootings in in a lot of the inner cities across America.
Yes.
And I know in Philadelphia, I keep hearing, I don't know statistics, I'm just a regular person, but I keep hearing that they can't find the perpetrators. It's like 80% of the time. I don't know if that's true or not, but it was a high number that I heard. I'm just wondering if, after looking at the George Floyd riots and how we had a lot of outsiders come in and destroy property and it wasn't us, I'm just wondering if some of these shootings are not us. I just keep, it doesn't make sense for all these shootings. Another thing is that I think nobody's talking about is where are the guns coming from? I know I hear that a little bit, but I don't see enough investigation. Where are the guns coming from? Is it really the Black community shooting each other? Is it really? If you can't find out who's doing it, how can we say that we're shooting each other? And the third thing is,
so who do you think is shooting people in the Black community?
I really don't know, but if they don't know who's doing it and they can't find out who's doing it, why should we automatically say that it's us doing it? I know maybe some of it is, but I don't know. It's just like a lot of confusion, but we can never find out who's really doing it all the time. I don't know. I'm not a police officer. I'm not a detective, but it just sounds very strange.
So you think it's somebody else coming in our community shooting our people?
It wouldn't shock me. It would not shock me.
And nobody sees them despite all of the cameras in the community at stores and on people's houses.
But that's another strange thing. If I'll get a ticket if I cross a red light, or I don't know, if you rob a bank, there might be video cameras. But why aren't we catching the people? Maybe they could be covered well. I don't know.
All right, I want to thank you for your call this morning. We got to move on. I'm sorry to cut you off. I want to get Erica from Chicago before we go to break. Go ahead, Erica.
Women and friends.
Good morning.
I wanted to first, you're hilarious watching you on Facebook.
Oh, man.
You're hilarious.
Your people.
Jesus help us. When it comes to our agenda, we can chew gum and walk at the same time. We can have multiple things going on, so I don't understand people want to deflect from answering that question. One, I feel like the Voters' Right Act should be reinstated, to full capacity in which it was intended. I think, two, we need to find some very tangible ways to bring back reparations to descendants of enslaved Africans, free tuition for state schools, community colleges, something of that nature, something to do with housing and African Americans and our home ownership, and also rehauling. We need a Department of Racial Reconciliation that will not shift based upon whether it's a Republican or Democrats in power, because we really need to look at and overturn, not just do research, because people do research and quote unquote have data all day, but we need to have a tangible Department of Racial Reconciliation that looks at, overturns, and implements new policies and structures for every single thing that has impacted the well-being of Black and brown people. And in addition to having Black people in office, you're completely on it. We need Black people in positions who are not anti-Black, i.e. Clarence Thomas and a few other, you know what I'm saying? We can go down the line on how they operate. And then last thing, I want to say that the guns in Chicago come from Wisconsin and come from Indiana. And I want to say this, I've seen this with my very own eyes. I've seen a big old thick book the size of a phone book of the gangs of Chicago. They have data, information, pictures on who these people are, where they live, their baby mama, and everything in between. So if they really want to stop specific specifically, I'm speaking for Chicago. What's going on in Chicago, they can do so because they know who these people are. Love what you're doing. Have a great show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we need it. Melanie, dear Melanie's going to call on the other side with another hilarious answer to one of life's biggest questions. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Check out the Source lineup on Word Radio. Mondays, get ready for the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith. On Tuesdays, it's Andrea Lawful Sanders. Then on Wednesdays, it's the Black Women's Leadership Council. On Thursdays, it's a second helping of Andrea Lawful Sanders. And on Fridays, it's Tiffany Bacon. Don't miss the Source. Monday through Thursday, 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. and Fridays, 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. Exclusively on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on wordradio.com and on the Word Radio app.
Brothers and sisters, we've seen enough. It's time to get together. We can do big things together, just like they did. President Obama and Vice President Biden passed healthcare reform, helped rescue the auto industry, and created more than 15 million jobs. And right now, together, we can help Joe Biden do it again as president, to unify this country and fix the issues that we're facing right now. Real police reform, expanding access to high-quality education, protecting our right to vote, and rebuilding the economy so that it works for us. Now is the time for us to rise up and do this together with Joe Biden. Go to joebiden.com/Black America to learn more.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
Dietz & Watson has been making premium meats and artisan cheeses for over 80 years. And when it comes to stacking sandwiches and party platters, they've got something for everyone in the family, like maple honey turkey breast, American cheese, buffalo chicken, and more. So get to your local deli and taste 4 generations of family recipes. With Dietz & Watson on the table, you'll have everyone coming back for seconds and thirds. Dietz & Watson, it's a family thing since 1939.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Independent Black Media. It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Good morning. Right now on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. You know I've been out the studio too long. You know I done took too long to get my coffee or go to the middle or whatever it is I got to do when the words come on. You know, I mean, you got to the part where they like, it's like that. All right, I'm sorry, Kawesa. I'm sorry. I needed a minute. man. We appreciate each and every one of you, and we thank you, of course, for listening this morning to Wake Up with Word. Joining us now is dear Melanie, your favorite cousin of mine, Melanie Bryan Hurst, a doctoral candidate in social work at Widener University, First Lady of Mount Pisgah AME in Jersey City, New Jersey, where the Reverend Dr. Stanley Hurst II is the pastor. Melanie, good morning.
Hey, Solomon, how are you?
Man, it's one of them days I need to hear from you, Melanie. I need my family calling here this morning because they drive me crazy.
Lord, they acting crazy. Oh, Lord.
You sound like Grandma.
That's right. Oh, no. Don't make me come down there and listen, okay?
Man, oh, man. Yeah. So, we've been talking a whole lot about the election.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, one of the questions that we have from one of our listeners, of course, kind of goes to that. Are you ready, Melanie?
I'm ready.
All right, here it is. Dear Melanie, the Democrats nominated Joe Biden last night, but I keep thinking about Michelle Obama's speech. She's the realest sister we know, and she's been in the White House before. She knows what it takes. She's fearless about Trump, and even though we love Barack, Michelle needs her own show. Is it too late to run her for president? Sign voting in Virginia.
Well, voting in Virginia. The short answer to your question is yes, it's too late for Michelle to be put on the ballot, okay? It's too late. I mean, I know we were hypnotized by coherent sentences and proper sentence structure. I mean, it was a wonderful thing, and she's always on point. But Joe Biden secured the nomination from the Democrats to be the candidate for president. So at this point, it's too late. But let's break it down a bit, okay? I have 3 reasons why we need to leave Michelle Obama alone and let her live out her life racking up these coins as our forever first lady, okay? Listen, number 1, I know we love Michelle, and she reminded us a few nights ago that she's absolutely brilliant. But if you listen closely, she told her truth, and she said, I hate politics, and I don't blame her. While she was in the White House, she also saw the good, the bad, and the ugly side of the political game. I can only imagine it being an episode of House of Cards where everybody is waiting for the opportunity to cut off somebody in order for them to succeed. I mean, House of Cards was crazy until Kevin Spacey messed it up. But anyway, or even worse, it could be like an episode of Tyler Perry's The Oval, which is the worst show I've ever seen, ever. It is, Solomon, listen, it's not even a comedy. It's not a comedy. But it is the most hilarious thing I've ever seen in my life. Stanley and I, we just watched it to laugh at the far-fetched scenarios, the set of the projects that looks like a college campus, and we count how many times, because this is Tyler Perry, we literally count how many times Tyler Perry directs a scene with naked man butt or naked man chest. It's ridiculous, okay? Stanley said, I think he sits in the back and says, add more naked man butt. I'm serious, okay? It's really hilarious. But listen, I think Michelle is really over it, okay? Number 2, the Balenciaga boots. Do y'all remember the boots? Every man, woman, boy, and girl remember those silver sparkly Balenciaga boots that Lady Michelle wore that time with the yellow dress. I mean, she looked like some type of African goddess, and she owned it. Now imagine her being president. I mean, where's she going to wear those boots to? She can't. She can't wear the boots. They came all the way up to her thigh. I mean, she cannot wear the boots. They're going to stay in the closet collecting dust. Remember the time when President Obama wore the tan suit?
Yes.
And the racists, I mean, the conservatives went crazy. They lost their minds. It was the topic of conversation for 2 weeks. That was the only scandal that he had.
Yep.
It was tan suit gate. I mean, literally. So imagine if President Michelle wore those boots. Nah, we're going to let her rack up those coins, and wear her little thigh-high boots wherever she wants to go because she's the former First Lady, our forever First Lady, and she ain't got time to be worried about these people in the White House as president.
There you go.
Now, finally, listen, if Michelle Obama becomes president, all black people are going to jail, okay? It's just, it's cut and dry. I mean, and I'm not talking about any policy that will put us there. I'm talking
talking about the fact that if Michelle is getting attacked in these streets because of racism and sexism, we are no longer protesting and debating on Twitter. We straight fighting. I mean, that's a wrap. You know what I mean?
Leave Michelle alone.
Exactly. Solomon, I can picture it. As I walk through Target, the aisles minding my black business, and see a Karen with a disrespectful Michelle Obama shirt on, that red shopping cart is getting wrapped around her throat on sight. And guess what? I'm going to jail. Black men are going into overprotection mode of our black queen. Let Fox and Friends start a segment wrong. The black camera crew coming from behind the scenes to put people in chokeholds. And then guess what? They going to jail. Little black kids are going to be on the playground talking about your mama, okay? When other kids say something about President Michelle Obama. And sadly, because of systemic racism, they going to jail too. And Solomon, this one is probably the saddest, but I can see it now. Even our seniors shopping in the grocery store, going to be slapping dentures loose in the produce aisle, Solomon, because Susan, that's the older version of Karen, Billy Bob, done called President Michelle out of her name. They going to jail too. So we, the black delegation, can't all take going to jail at the same time, okay? So listen, we just can't do it. It can't happen because literally all of us are going to be in jail. So listen, we need to vote that Michelle Obama becoming president is not the best idea, because I promise we are not going to allow her to get mistreated like they treated President Obama.
How about that?
It's just not going to happen. So we just need to go ahead and vote for, for Vice President Biden and Senator Kamala Harris, and we are going to move forward, because look at what they're doing to Senator Harris.
I know.
Are you serious? Nope.
Yeah.
I just think that we just need to let her live her life. She is doing well. She has a podcast. She has a book. She has appearances. She is racking up these coins.
That's
so
right.
we don't want to interrupt her racking up these coins. So we're going to allow her to live her life. President Obama is going to be okay because he don't have to pull out his guns and stuff and all of that. And we just going to let her do what it do. I mean, I know it sounded great, but we can't go there. We just can't.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right, because if they come at Michelle, you're right. We are going to be in jail because black people going to go off. You know what I mean?
The whole family in one jail cell. It's sad. Okay? You, your wife, kids.
Everybody.
It's everybody. And our grandparents going to be on the side with no dentures because they done got into a fist fight in the produce aisle. It is not going to be good at all.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. So we riding with Biden. We're going to see what happens with that, and let Michelle go ahead and, she'll drop a jewel every once in a while and then go back to making her money, drop another jewel, go back to making some money. Yeah, you're right.
There we go. It's
right.
Beautiful. We're going to let her have it.
All right. That is your favorite cousin and mine, dear Melanie. Melanie Bryant Hurst, of course, doctoral candidate in social work at Widener University, First Lady of Mount Pisgah AME in Jersey City, New Jersey, where the Reverend Dr. Stanley Hurst II is the pastor. And you can check out more of her work at askthepreacherswife.com. That's askthepreacherswife.com. Melanie, thanks so much.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right. Talk to you later. So, yeah, she right. Because if they come at Michelle wrong, it's going to be on. It's going to be on. So I want to hear from you, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are at any of these things we are talking about on this morning's show. One of the things that happened after Michelle made her speech, Trump, of course, took to Twitter, where he always is, and was like, well, there would be no Donald J. Trump if it wasn't for Barack Obama doing such a terrible job. Well, actually, there would be no Donald Trump if it wasn't for Barack Obama doing such an excellent job. Because as Melanie pointed out, his biggest scandal was wearing a tan suit. They never, and I'm sure they searched high and low, found anybody to say a negative word about Barack Obama. They had to make up a lie in order to say something negative about Barack Obama. Oh, his birth certificate, he wasn't born in America. Donald Trump running around lying. Oh, I got detectives in Hawaii. And I knew then, like, wait a minute, what? You got okay, where the detectives at? Put them on the air. You know, you lying for years about Barack Obama. You know, and so I think Melanie's right, and certainly the thing that really I think impressed me most that I have heard over the last couple of years about Joe Biden is that elevator operator. Like, it's little things, man. Little things count. Little things mean something. You know what I mean? Like, it's how do you treat a person when you don't have anything to gain from it? You understand what I'm saying? Do you treat people with common decency when they're not in a position to give you anything? That, I think, reveals your character. It reveals who you really are. You know, I've had people, man, who, you know, they're only nice to you once they find out who you are, what you do, what you can do for them, you know, that kind of thing. But if you can treat somebody who's in a position really not to do anything for you, if you can treat them with common decency, to me, that says something about your character. It really does. But I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. Melanie said, leave Michelle alone. Let her keep making her money and wear her Balenciaga boots. Larry from Philly is on line 4. Go ahead, Larry.
Hi, Summer. Good morning now.
Good morning.
The conversations are deep, but the first conversation people need to really understand is educating our people. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing. You got to educate these people on the Constitution. You got to teach them whether they don't know that each state has their own Constitution. So if you don't know what the president stands for, you don't know what the mayor stands for, you don't know what the governor stands for, you don't know what the police stand for, I don't care how much marching you do, I don't care what you try to boycott, it's not going to work. The power is within the people. Mm-hmm. It's in the Constitution. The power is within the people. Mm-hmm. Now, people voting, you got to understand why is you voting. Mm-hmm. Because certain presidents, they're already elected. I'm not even going to front. Like, they already picked who they want to be president. That's forehand. All these debates, I ain't going to get too deep in that. All these debates is, if you really look at the debate and you look at Congress, why they can't pass the law, why they can't pass for, a lot of people are out of work right now. And no one really seems to be talking about that. And a lot of Congress out there are debating the Republican and the Democrat as far as stimulus. Mm-hmm.
So you said they already picked the president. So who already picked the president, and who's the president going to be?
The collateral vote. If you look at the president, one more Jackson. I'm not going to get too deep. Jackson tried to run for president.
Jackson who? Oh, you mean Jesse Jackson.
Jesse Jackson.
You said Jackson.
Yeah, oh, my bad.
You mean Jesse Jackson tried to run. Okay.
Tried to run for president.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Jesse Jackson couldn't be a president because of his citizenship.
No, I think he didn't win because he made that Town comment. You remember that, Kawesa? You probably don't remember it. But I do. So he made a Town comment, and that basically scuttled his candidacy. I remember that.
Same name Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're not a citizen. Arnold Schwarzenegger can run for president.
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger's, he's not a natural-born citizen. That's true, so he can't run for president.
Exactly. So this is what I'm saying is that we're not teaching our kids about running. Back in the day, they used to have the Constitution in schools. They took the Constitution out of schools. You know what I mean? And every time you see when election time come up, this one, everybody want to show up. Like, people don't understand that Philadelphia have a lot of history. They understand why all the presidents leave from here. They understand that the Constitution was here. No one knows about Philadelphia. Even people that live in Philadelphia don't know the history of Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. So before you can move forward, you got to be educated. If you're not educated, you can never move forward.
I agree, and I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Gail from the Northeast on line 1. Go ahead, Gail.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
Mm-hmm. And I thank you for Mel, because boy, she takes the days from going being gray to beautiful blue.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
When we sit up there and we say don't know, well, civics was taught at school. I don't know if people sometimes pay attention when you're in school. American history and all that is taught. I said, and we need to go back, because now I'll say this: some of our older folks don't know the history because they forget. So therefore, yes, refresher courses are always okay. But we have to realize, no, he's not take. But the 1%, Koch brothers, all these rich people are putting a whole lot of money, because they're the ones that really call the shots. Mm-hmm. And so Donald Trump is
nothing but he going out there. They need him. They need him, and that's why he's here. But we have to be focused enough to know that we count too, and our votes count. So we have to get out there, and we have to sit up there, not let the distraction and all the noise bother us, but stay on point, stay focused, make your demands, because that is what gets it. And when you kept saying you can't get anything without a demand,
that's right.
Yes, we have to stay on point because we cannot, and they know it. So when we lose focus, and sometimes being black folks, we tend to lose focus and get involved. She's not black enough, or I don't like what he did with the crime. We don't understand the bigger picture. This right now, as Dr. Greg Carr says, this is a fight for our life.
Yeah.
Because you haven't seen where he's going to take you.
Yep.
And it's not about a rollback. It's about the rewriting totally. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Gail. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to talk with Neha Mukherjee. She is the president of the Brown University South Asian Students Association. She's originally from Philadelphia. She's written a recent piece called Learn to Say Kamala Harris's Name and Mine Too. We're going to talk to her on the other side of this break. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Weather and traffic to keep you informed for your drive home in the happy hour with Sincerely Sarita. Monday through Thursday, 4 till 7 p.m. Right here on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Seniors, does your doctor regularly reach out to check on you? Can you walk into your doctor's office and see them if you need to? Do you have your doctor's cell phone number, and can you call them anytime, day or night? At Dedicated Senior Medical Center, their only specialty is caring for seniors. Dedicated makes it easy to get the primary care you deserve. Doctors spend more time with patients than the doctors you may be used to. They offer telehealth visits, help you get your medications, and even make sure you get to your appointments. If your doctor isn't treating you like family, it's time to say yes to Dedicated Senior Medical Center. Call Dedicated Senior Medical Center today to schedule a visit and find out what you're missing. Call 267-443-1900. That's 267-443-1900. Appointments are available now.
No fear, just facts. This is WURD, independent black media.
RG Electrical Inspections provides electrical inspections for realtors, licensed electricians, and homeowners. RG is a certified plans examiner and licensed underwriter providing assistance for PICO outages. RG is also listed on PICO's website. RG Electrical Inspections is a licensed and insured underwriter serving Philadelphia and surrounding areas. Call if you have plans to review today, 267-902-1655.
Home of the happy hour. With Sincerely Sarita. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Streaming live at wordradio.com and on the Word Radio app. You're waking up with Word. Hosted by Solomon Jones. Good morning. Right now on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Kamala Harris is a black and South Asian woman who is now the vice presidential nominee for the Democratic Party. We've talked a lot about the fact that she's black. We haven't talked a whole lot about the fact that she is of South Asian descent as well. And joining us now to talk about that is Neha Mukherjee. She is a student at Brown University where she studies journalism and public health. She's president of Brown's South Asian Students Association. And she's written a recent article called Learn to Say Kamala Harris's Name and Mine Too. Neha, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good. I'm doing well. So, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, you are.
Okay, good. Good. You're welcome. So, one of the things that people do that is a microaggression, right? Because it happens to black folks a lot too, is mispronounce people's names on purpose, right? In order to almost like demean their culture. So when you've experienced that, people mispronouncing your name, I mean, what are some of the circumstances where you've experienced that?
Yeah, I mean, it has happened to me a lot growing up, and I think there's a strong difference, between someone honestly mispronouncing a name, which is something that I do all the time. We're only human.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone who knows how to say your name correctly, and they're just mispronouncing it, in a demeaning way, or just because, it's easier for them. And I think some of those circumstances have just been around, classmates, people that, don't necessarily understand the significance of my name and the significance of so many people's name. In Black culture and South Asian culture, our names are, deeply rooted in a lot of history. So I think that, that is an important distinction to make when you are trying to pronounce someone's name. And in terms of the, circumstances where I've experienced that, there's been some that are accidental, and of course I have no problem with that. I know my name is not very common in the U.S., but other circumstances have been purposeful, and that's what I saw happening to Senator Harris, so that's why I wanted to speak up about it.
One prominent place where it happened was on Fox News. There's a host on Fox News who mispronounced her name, and then when the guest said, "Well, you're mispronouncing her name," he reacted almost with hostility to that. Did you see that?
I did see that, yes.
What did you think when you saw that, as somebody who's kind of experienced some of the same thing?
I think that the clip just really resonated with me, because I was just thinking that, now is an opportunity to speak up. And this is an opportunity we haven't always gotten in the past, having someone like Senator Kamala Harris in the spotlight now. And, what I was thinking, I think in the moment, is, why is respect becoming politicized? This is a basic respect. It doesn't have to do with a political issue. It's not about her stance on any one topic. This is just a basic human respect. And I think I was a little disappointed that this is where we've come, that, every little thing is so contentious, even when it's just showing a basic respect to someone who, could be in one of the highest offices now.
Yeah. So her name is Kamala. What does that name mean? What's the meaning of that name, and what's the significance of it?
Yeah, so Kamala means lotus, and in her book, she writes about how a lotus is a flower that is very deeply rooted, but it also, grows above the water. So I think that for her, the name Kamala is very significant to her culture, and how, she does stay rooted in her culture, but she's also, growing, and, now that she's in the spotlight, becoming her own person. And I think that's something that's really special. And it's actually funny, because a lot of Indian news headlines had things like, Lotus to POTUS written over it when she was announced as the vice presidential candidate or nominee. So her name means lotus.
Okay. And so, your name, Neha, what does your name mean?
My name means love.
Okay. And so, you grew up in this area. I'm assuming in the suburbs in this area. And so, what did you experience in your schools and in your community as it relates to your name and your culture?
So I think growing up, I was growing up in a predominantly white area, so I never really had a strong, South Asian community outside of my family. And, with that, a lot of people mispronouncing my name, most of the time by accident. I very rarely faced the situation where it was being done on purpose. But, growing up, it is a little bit of a confusion, I think, over identity, in terms of, stuck in the middle, I guess, between being, too American sometimes, like not American enough other times. and, learning, where is my place as an Indian American, especially growing up in a community where, there's not a lot of other Indian Americans around. So I think the name is a small piece of the whole puzzle of, what it's like to grow up in this kind of dual identity.
Yeah. And so when you see Kamala Harris as the vice presidential nominee for the Democratic Party, and when your community sees it, what's being said in the Indian community and the South Asian community about Kamala Harris rising to this level?
Well, I think there's a few things that are being said about her. I think a lot of it is this sense of, we have arrived, because for us, this is the first time that we're seeing someone from South Asian descent in this kind of spotlight. And I think that, representation is so important. So a lot of the conversation that's being had is that, when South Asian girls or Black girls see in their history textbooks that, Kamala Harris is a candidate for vice president, it's going to be really powerful in knowing what they can do. But I think that another piece of what's being talked about in the South Asian community is that it's not just her representation that matters. She also needs to act on the issues that are important to us. And with that, I think that's something that we'll hopefully see moving forward. Mm-hmm. And I think another thing that people are really talking about is that this is an opportunity for conversation. And I think that's part of the reason why I wrote the piece in the Inquirer, is that having representation is not only just a symbol of inspiration, but it also gives us an opportunity to speak up about some of these important issues. Mm-hmm. So even though the pronunciation of a name is a very, very small piece in a larger issue, it's just the beginning of a conversation. Mm-hmm. And so I think a lot of the South Asian community is excited about the opportunity that we have for conversation and representation, but also continuously looking for action.
Mm-hmm. So in other words, in the South Asian community, what you're saying is it's great to have her in that position, but we have an agenda that we want her to act on.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. We appreciate that, and I think that's part of what we're saying in the Black community as well, that it's great to have you there. Okay, now what are you going to do?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And so what are some of those things that are important to the South Asian community that need to be done, that you're going to be pressing Kamala Harris on?
I think a lot of it actually has to do with just voting in general. I mean, and politicians, speaking directly to the South Asian or, more broadly, the Asian American community. Mm-hmm. And in 2016, only 49% of eligible Asian Americans voted in the election, mm-hmm. which, that goes both ways. In one way, our community needs to be more politically active, but from the other side, politicians also need to pay attention at the issues that matter to the community. So I think that in terms of accessibility, language barriers, making voting accessible to people is something that I'll definitely be looking to see if she can reform. And, beyond that, I think immigration reform is also very important to the South Asian community. So I think it'll be really important to watch and see how she acts on that.
Mm-hmm. All right. That is Neha Mukherjee. She is a journalism student at Brown University, president of Brown's South Asian Students Association. Her article, Learn to Say Kamala Harris's Name and Mine Too, appears in the Philadelphia Inquirer. We want to thank you so much for your piece and for appearing on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So just for those who, are questioning why I'm saying we need to have an agenda, guess what? Other communities are clear, man. That, it's great that you're in this position. We're proud of you. We support you. We're glad to see you there. We're glad to be represented. Now we need you to do something. It's nothing wrong with saying that. Black people, there's nothing wrong with saying that. Like, we need to be saying that. And we need to be watching what other communities do. Because I think that for too long, some of us have been just satisfied that it's a black face there. You can have a black face there doing the same thing that the white face was doing before that. And a lot of times we do. No, there has to be an agenda. There has to be some stuff that okay, that's great that you're there. Now we need you to do something. And by the way, here's what we need you to do. There's nothing wrong with saying that. As a matter of fact, that's the only right thing to do. You there? Okay, we'll support you. We need you to support us. That's really what you're there for. Not just to be the face, not just to be the symbol, not just to be, we need you to be substance. I appreciate Neha. And she, young woman. You know what I mean? What are they saying in your community? They saying we need you to do some stuff. That's the bare minimum. And that's what we need to be saying, too. I want to hear from you. Give me a call. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. We can't be like, oh, well, okay, don't question anything. Don't say anything. Don't ask any questions. No, we need to do that. And we can be supportive and at the same time ask questions, make demands, examine records. Of course we should do that for anybody. That's what we need to be doing. To make sure that we get what we want. Because other than that, guess what? That person is just there. And it makes no difference to you. I want to hear from you. Give me a call. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in. Miss Marie is online, too. Go ahead, Miss Marie.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
Your producer, creator, she's wonderful, just like you.
Oh, thank you.
A good combination, okay? Because she did something for me. But anyway, you just took the words out of my mouth, okay? Some people, they're getting in office, but then they go along just to get along. And like you said, they should. If they don't do what they should do the first term, then don't vote for them, okay? Mm-hmm. But you have to speak up.
Yep.
Don't keep it to yourself. Ask the question. You receive not if you ask not, okay? And if you don't know, like with the kids with me, they would ask me a question. If I didn't know it, I said to them, well, you know what? I really don't know, but I'll find out for you before the day is over, okay? So this is what you do. Ask the question. You'll get an answer. And if you don't get the answer that you want, or that you need, or anything, then talk to someone else. Go a little bit further, okay?
Yeah.
But like I said, everything that if I missed out on the program during the daytime, today I'm at home, I would listen to you at night, okay?
Oh,
so
thank you.
It's always good. But the best day that I really love is on a Wednesday with your cousin. Melanie. She gives me, oh, my goodness, she just makes my day. Every Wednesday, don't bother me.
Wow.
If I have to go out, I make sure I hear it at night or on a Wednesday night. But as I said, with everything that's going on in the world, it's not the world, it's the people in the world, okay? The things that they're doing, it's really wrong. But God is showing the people what is going on. And the people who have registered, make sure you get up and go and vote.
That's right.
That's what you have to do. And I've been voting since I was 21. And as long as I'm alive, I am going to walk. We had to move. We had to move from down the street to the voting place. Had to take a bus to go to it. Okay? But I'll be there at 7 o'clock in the morning.
I know that's right.
The Almighty, even if I have to walk. So everyone have a blessed day. And then we have to keep on praying. Take care and stay like you're doing, Reverend.
Thank you, Miss Marie. We appreciate that. And thank you so much for your call this morning on WRD. Let's go to Zaire from West Oak Lane on line 3. Go ahead, Zaire.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
And I have another vote for Croatia. She's a very, very nice person.
Oh, yes, she is.
She's a very nice person. But I have three things real quick. When Biden and Kamala win this office, we got to make sure they classify or characterize the KKK and other neo-Nazis as a terrorist group.
Okay.
That's one thing.
Okay.
The second thing, it's not really beyond belief that there are others coming in our neighborhoods shooting us. Because these white supremacists and some of these cops have expressed themselves, they look, we don't like black people. We do what we can to get rid of y'all. So that's a possibility. The third thing is...
it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's possible. I just think that you know... A lot of what's going on is us shooting each other, man. A lot of what's going on is us shooting each other. I mean, and we just have to really accept that and figure out how to stop that.
Right. I agree. But I don't put it beyond them.
Okay.
And, I've been at the post office 32 years, right? And recently, they just took a major machine out of our place, and they're working on taking another one out. I mean, they really contributed to a lot of stuff we process. So yes, they were trying to get rid of destroy the post office.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that's it.
All right. Well,
Have a good one,
I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. I'm going to go back to the phone lines, talk to Derek from North Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Derek.
Good morning, Brother Solomon. Love, peace, blessing, and prosperity.
Same to you.
Right on, Solomon. Solomon, I wanted to make 2 comments, but I wanted to speak on what the caller said about the world. Lou Ross had a great song out. He said, "What's the matter with the world? Has the world gone mad?" And he said, then he chimed in, "Nothing's wrong with the world, just the people that's in it." Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff wrote that song, I do believe.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great song.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to make a comment on politics. I imagine that when we gained our so-called freedom in these United States, we might have been shy about asking for our rights and things that we needed that were of necessity so we can move forward. So I feel like, we can't be in a state of mind that we're afraid to ask for what we want for.
I agree.
COVID-19 sort of levels the playing field, and so with that, we have to be bold to demand what we want. It's as simple as that.
I agree.
Through our vote, through our agendas, through what it takes, but we must be bold. The last thing I wanted to say real quick, Solomon, the way how I make the difference between what's good and I do it this way. When things are good or people do good things, it's generally a reward for that. Whether it be a grade, whether it be a point, whether it be a score, it's predicated on some type of reward. But kindness, when the person does kindness, it's not with a reward in mind.
Mm-hmm.
It just comes straight forward. It's just out of kindness. It's not, you don't have nothing figured that you're trying to get. It's just straight from the heart. That's how I differentiate goodness from kindness.
All right, and I appreciate your call this morning on WURD. Want to remind you to join us this Thursday, August 20th, for our annual Founders Day celebration, honoring the life and legacy of Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD, Philly-born physician, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and founder of onWURD Radio. We'll devote the entire day to special Founders Day programming that includes panels on doctors fighting on the front lines for access and equity, economic empowerment through entrepreneurship, celebrating the 100th anniversary of the women's right to vote with black women elected officials, and reflections on Dr. Lomax's legacy with family and friends. Throughout the day, we'll also be reintroducing the Livelihood Initiative, and you can get a discount on onWURD membership, $80 instead of $90. Go to wordradio.com for more information. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Always Best Care is a great place to work.
Flexibility, leadership, purpose,
great benefits.
There's never a dull moment.
Diversity, inclusion, compasión.
We love our jobs. If you're looking for a great place to work, you can join our compassionate Team Green. You can apply online at teamgreenabc.com or call 267-909-9248.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation?
Follow us on social media
using the hashtag onWURD.
Be heard.
Stay connected to onWURD Radio.
Independent Black Media.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. Start saving more for retirement now, so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Get free tips to help boost your retirement savings now at aceyourretirement.org/Shiro.
A message brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
This is onWURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media.
It's Wake Up with onWURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on onWURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. We are taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. And we're talking about a number of things, including our top 3 stories, which are story number 1. Embattled Postmaster General Louis DeJoy reversed course yesterday, saying that all changes being made to the Postal Service would be suspended until after the November 3rd election, just as 20 Democratic states announced plans to file federal lawsuits. Story number 2, as the U.S. marks the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage, many event organizers, mindful that the 19th Amendment originally benefited mostly white women, have been careful to present it as a commemoration and not a celebration. And of course, story number 3, with the Democratic National Convention now underway, glad to see black women up front. But you know what? I need y'all to stop talking about it and be about it. In other words, there are some things that we want other than just representation, other than just seeing our faces. I think seeing our faces is a wonderful thing. Seeing our sisters especially is a wonderful thing. But there's some stuff that needs to get done. And now is the time to start talking about those things. You want our vote? We got some stuff we need to get done, bottom line. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what other communities do, and that's what we have to learn to do as well. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let's go to Jim from West Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Jim.
Well, the first thing I want to do is thank Dr. Lomax for providing existence of WURD.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he hadn't been an entrepreneur, he could have just been a great doctor,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Which he was.
Mm-hmm.
But to have the vision and foresight to found a healthcare network, to organize, to get to the point where he was, that he could actually buy that station and afford to support it when it wasn't gaining the revenue and all that it should gain and everything. It's just a real testimony and somebody that you could really emulate, show as inspiration to the community to do as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
I feel real bad that because of this virus that you can't have the live celebrations that they had like they have at the main library, because you have to be the one to see all of the people that come through and the love. And Sarah, how she makes sure something's right. She gets there. If you didn't know Sarah, you wouldn't know she wasn't one of the workers. The way she moves around and all. So, I just really wish the whole Lomax family well on the Founders Day tomorrow. Now, as far as something that you need, actually, what really upsets me, why, as a citizen, do I need a law, Voters' Rights Act, or whatever it is? I mean, when you were born, they can base everything on your Social Security number. When you put your Social Security number on your vote, it's only one of you. It's the trail of where your residence, everything, all right? Why should, the first thing we got to remember, we are citizens of a country, only residents of a state or a city. There's no way that a state or a city should have the powers to make laws or rules that suppress my rights as a citizen of a country. And that's one of the things that I would really eliminate. I mean, it's ridiculous that I need laws to equalize my citizenship rights. When I was born, and there's a white baby in this bassinet, the Asian baby in this bassinet, and the black baby in this bassinet, from day one, why should any of them come up different?
Well, you need laws because of racism, Jim. You know that.
I know that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a terrible thing that we need them, but we do.
The federal level should suppress anything that interferes with my rights as a citizen. That's all I'm saying. I know what's happening now and everything, and that's the only way you're going to stop it. Stop letting people whatever rules you got to be able to read this to vote. No, no. All you have to do is show your Social Security number. I'm a citizen of this country, and this is who I want to lead me. That's all you need. That's the way. That's what I would demand. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, I appreciate your call this morning on WURD as always. Brother Jim, if you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. We got all these comments on Facebook. I'm realizing we got over 300 comments, maybe 400 to this point. Kawhi, so let's read a couple of those comments that we're getting this morning on Facebook.
So this one's kind of long. I'll try to read most of it. Raphael Suleiman, for the young South Asian woman to come onto a black radio station and say that the South Asian people have arrived is deplorable. Why is that?
Why is that deplorable?
Why is that deplorable?
Come on, bro.
I didn't even get that far.
Read something else.
Yeah,
read something else. That's you being ridiculous.
Sorry.
You being ridiculous.
Arnold Thornton, great show, Brother Solomon and Queen Kuwaisa. Thank you very much. Set goals, stick to the plan. Long live our future. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. And then hashtag vote him out 2020. Michelle Tulak-Neal, are they planning to put back the mailboxes that were removed? That's a question. And then also a couple other people were weighing in. I did grab some screenshots because, of course, some of these disappeared. So let's go ahead and get to those. Melissa Brunson says, like these white nationalist groups can't cover up, put on blackface, and wear glasses to disguise themselves. We have not heard additional info about the white guy who set fire to all those police vehicles a few weeks ago. So that's one comment that's there. We also have Rebecca Truxon saying, why can't black people just unite and stop playing? So that's another one. Lean Love, Solomon, you are correct. We must have and push our agenda. Our reparations agenda is being pushed by Rep. Lee of Texas. So that's one comment. And then we also have, let me scroll over here, Virginia Hanfo. What I realized in America, people don't want to make any effort to respect people's names. At my job, I have to force people to pronounce my last name right. Explain to them the meaning of my last name. It's time, but now everybody takes me seriously. I remember for my husband, his boss wanted him to change his last name. He had to say no and stand up for himself. Yeah, that's crazy. And, you know, I definitely understand about the name situation. Definitely do. And then, scrolling over here, excuse me, Deborah Dorn Carter. Solomon, I have to say, the woman who called about the shootings in our city made plenty of sense. Where are all the guns coming from? I don't believe it's just our people. It's a possibility of outside interference. And then I think I saw one more, Steph Michelle, when she was listening to Melanie. I agree, Cousin Melanie, we would be out here in these streets pulling our hair back in ponytails, putting on Vaseline, and putting a double knot in our shoelaces because it's going down. So that's another comment as well.
I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation. We only got a couple minutes left. We got a full bank of calls. Let me get to Joyce from Frankfurt on line 4. Go ahead, Joyce.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
Okay, I'll try to be fair.
Okay.
Talking about a black agenda. Since the word empathy has been thrown around a lot, excuse me.
Yes.
I want Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the whole Democratic Party to feel empathy for African Americans. Mary Turner was lynched in 1918. She was 19 years old. She was pregnant. She was hung upside down. Her stomach was blown. And the baby fell out. And white men's boots crushed the baby's head. So there were thousands and thousands of lynchings. And after you feel the empathy for what happened to us, I want you to give us reparations for the hurt and the pain of that.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. Reparations. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WRD. Let's go to Sister Murray from Northern Liberties on line 1. Go ahead, Sister Murray.
Hi, Solomon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for receiving my call.
You're welcome.
You and Kuwaisa, you guys are doing just an awesome job on the radio this morning.
Thank you.
Your cousin Melody. Everybody should have a cousin like your cousin Melody. And thanks so much for sharing her with the whole world because
You're welcome.
we laugh at times like this moving forward. So you guys continue to keep up the good work. Everybody continue to support WRD, and see you tomorrow.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate that, and thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Mike from North Philly is on line 3. Go ahead, Mike.
What's up, Solomon? How you doing, Digger?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'll be really quick. Solomon, the day is Wednesday, right? It's raining. It's cool outside. Melody is tripping. Dunkin' Donuts got pumpkin coffee.
It's fall. That means fall is coming.
Oh, yeah, I got to have my pumpkin coffee 3 times a day now.
Okay.
You know, the black politicians treat our vote like it's the hookup.
Don't they?
Do nothing for it. Yes, they do. And a hot dog, and you might get a hot dog and a sausage and a dance in Vernon Park at some point, but that's all you're going to get. You know what I mean? We need more jobs and educational opportunities for young people, black and brown people. And the last thing, Solomon, when you said to that guy with the Green Party, what's your candidate's name? He froze and he didn't know. I thought he was going to say his name was Holly Doody.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, you can't be voting for nobody talking about you don't know nothing about them. Like, what? 215-634-8065. Let's go to Yusef from Swedesboro on line 2. Go ahead, Yusef.
Hey, how's it going? This is Howdy Doody. No. Great show as usual.
Thank you, man.
And the family. You know, I'm going to comment on 2 things. The first one, I went to a wedding this Sunday. It was at a location in New Jersey. You know, a lot of folks from Philly came over because the couple was from Philly.
Okay.
But what got me, you know, I'm in my 50s. You know, I got my family with me, my mom, my daughter, my granddaughter. But I'm looking around, and we got our people without these masks on. I'm like,
yeah, man.
And it was mostly the young ones. I'm like, guys, you know, got to realize this ain't no joke out here. This ain't no joke.
No, you're right.
My second thing is on the voting. I'm a little conflicted because, you know, I'm a former military person, government contract, and all that type of stuff.
Sure.
Now, I got one question for you, and then I'm going to go on real quick. When you go to the bank, what do you have to do to get to your money or anything? You
pull out my debit card.
Well, that's to get it out the machine. But, I mean, if you want to make a transaction with a person.
Pull out my debit card.
Or show ID in some places. But
not at my bank, but go ahead.
They may know you. So I guess what I'm getting at here in Jersey, you know, when I go to my voting location, I have to show ID. I don't have.
No, you don't. Not in New Jersey, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Kawesa lives in New Jersey. She don't have to show ID.
There's different townships.
Why do you voter ID is not on the books in New Jersey?
I got to show my ID.
I don't know why.
For an ID.
Well, you better tell them you ain't got to show it.
I'll double check that. Then.
Yeah.
I'll double check that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
So you think we should have voter ID?
I'm not saying voter ID, but I'm saying some form of identification. Because my signature changes from year to year. I don't know about you. My hands are getting shaky. But yeah, I guess, at least to me in my mindset, the way I've always been, it's proof positive. You got this ID from wherever you got it from. It could, like I said, it could be a bank card, it could be something that's recognized. But just the signature, you know, as we get older, our signatures change.
Yeah, I don't agree with voter ID because voter ID is a form of voter suppression. A lot of our folks do not have ID. Some of our folks, especially our older folks, because they didn't have birth certificates for black people at the time they were born, don't have ID. Some people have been divorced, and their name on their ID is different than the name on their, like, it's a barrier for our folks. So I hear you. I think that it's a means of voter suppression.
Well, I mean, I can see some of those points for sure. I'll keep listening.
All right, brother. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WRD, and I want to thank everybody who tuned in on today's show. I want to thank all of our guests, including Neha Mukherjee, who is a journalism student who wrote a great piece, Learn to Say Kamala Harris's name and mine, too. Of course, my favorite cousin of mine, dear Melanie Bryan Hurst, Shirley Ralph, who is the wife of Senator Vincent Hughes. We appreciate her joining us, as well as Albert Samaha from BuzzFeed News. And now, for everybody here at WURD Radio, including super producer Kawesa Mathis, I am your host, Solomon Jones, saying stay tuned for Reality Check with Charles Ellison, and tune in tomorrow at 7 for more Wake Up with Word. Peace.
So you just finished binge watching that entire TV series? Now it's time to binge listen at wordradio.com. Check out our archives of WURD on demand and listen to some of the most memorable moments from your favorite hosts. Word Radio on Demand. Check it out right now at wordradio.com/podcasts.
Are you hungry today? Have your taste buds been sufficiently pampered? Call Eatable Delights for succulent and juicy turkey wings, no-filler crab cakes, or tender smoky beef ribs. You can pick up curbside or get delivery in Philadelphia, Montgomery, South Jersey, Delaware, and Bucks County. Call 215-236-3900 or stop by 1540 Wadsworth Avenue. That's 215-236-3900 because even your taste buds deserve pampering. And tell them Solomon Jones sent you.
Pico has many ways to help you lower your energy usage and save money at home. Here's one. Have an old working fridge or freezer in your garage or basement? Pico will pick it up, dispose of it responsibly, and give you a $75 rebate. That's right, $75. Plus, you can save as much as $150 a year on your energy bill by getting rid of it. Just schedule your pickup at pico.com/recycling or call 1-888-5-PICO-SAVE today. Be sure your fridge